Late night, Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
I would have thought that in this town of ours, a man could never be alone. I would have thought that in these early hours, he never need be on his own. Anyone. I would have thought that being young like me would mean my eyes were open wide, but being young will never guarantee that I won't want to look inside. And then I see me getting old, and then I see I'm growing cold. I'm not impressed with what I say or what I do. I can't get through to anyone. You're not to blame, baby. And then I see me getting old, and then I see I'm growing cold. I'm not impressed with what I say or what I do. I can't get through to anyone.
Here we go.
I can't get through.
Here we go.
I can't get through.
See, I'm genuinely playing that because I heard that. I've heard it before, but I was reminded of it today, and I think it's brilliant. Right, I genuinely think it's brilliant. It's Bill Oddie. It's Bill Oddie's stab at pop fame. Bill Oddie joins me now. When was the last time you heard that song?
Oh God. Ages ago,
yeah.
I think somebody threw it at me accidentally, and on purpose to embarrass me or something like that. And then I probably embarrassed myself by saying, I'm not embarrassed.
It's a great song.
Well, thank you.
And you've got a great voice.
Well, thank you. It was, it's strange all that. A lot of people have said to me, you really wanted to be a pop singer, didn't you? And no, I didn't. And put it another way, I kind of was, because I did several records on my own, and that one I think was one of the first ones. Was produced by George Martin, would you believe?
Was it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I did 3 or 4 demos with George Martin. Well, releases.
Yeah.
And and then of course the Goodies records went on and on and on. There were.
Well, you had huge hits.
Yeah, they were
massive hits.
Yeah, they were. I mean, I think it was Melody Maker or something in those days would issue, top songwriters of the year and top groups of the year, and I was like number 4 songwriter.
Do you still get a check in the post every now and then for those songs?
Not really.
No.
You get the tiny checks tend to come from repeats of radio shows,
right,
and things like that. Because I don't think the PRS on that. We haven't had. I don't know who it would be now, somebody, Tom Jones or somebody coming in and say, I want to sing that song. And it sounds like, sounds West Indian, doesn't it? I want to sing that song by Bill Oddie. That was wonderful.
Now he sounds Pakistani.
Oh, come on, no. That was quite good from him. It was quite historic in a way of its time.
Yeah.
Not just the song, but the whole purpose of it, because what it was about was the mods and rockers who were sort of gangs who would zoom at each other on mopeds and beat the shit out of each other, and especially at the South Coast resorts.
Yeah.
And so that was a satirical piece for that. And the BBC
kid you not, banned it, and they said because they thought it might be an incitement to riot. And I said, I don't think they'd make the high notes. Those lads going in on their mopeds.
Oh, God.
They'd never get there.
Weren't the old days quaint, what they thought would offend people?
Indeed they were. So that got banned from radio. I had about 3 records banned from radio.
Go on, what else?
The others were... One was really unfortunate, because when England won the World Cup, I wrote a sort of anthem, entirely sort of, congratulatory, to Nobby Styles. It's called We Love Nobby Styles. And I don't know if you remember him or others do, little fella, and at the end of the game he danced around and he'd taken his teeth out, so this big gap in his teeth, and it was sort of tough and ruthless, rough and toothless was in the chorus. And I think the bit that really offended them was, I forget, I might have done it, I don't know, I did it myself, I got John Clearsall to do it, but did an impersonation of Alf Ramsey, who was a strange cove, and saying, no, that's not, I had to leave Jimmy Greaves out. He's a bit too flash for me, you know what I mean? Jeffrey, though, oh, he's a lovely boy. And it was sort of Jeff Hunt. And I think there was a slight sort of, a frisson there, perhaps, or something like that.
Yes.
But that got banned. Largely, that's a real shame. Closest I came to fame on this, because I was all lined up to do the Graham Nortons of the day, like...
Simon D.
Yes,
Probably,
Simon D.
yeah.
And oh God, I can't remember what it was. There were a couple of others there. And no, that was pulled by the BBC because there was a sort of possible litigation that
there was an implication of fruitiness.
Well, yeah, but I think they never mentioned that, but I'm sure that was something to do with it. And Nobby Styles' manager said we're going to take what is it called, an inventory or an invoice or something, so they can't be played.
And you said there was a third one that got
yes,
banned.
there was. The third one was, I mean, you can understand this, was off a Goodies record, and it was called Nothing to Do With Us, which meant all the songs were actually extremely un-goodie-ish, as it were. Pretty naughty ones about eating your pets and things like this. And this one was called Blowing Off, and but it's a great song. It's some of my, I think... that I'm really proud of the lyrics of Blowing Off. Graham got to sing it on the record, but not live. I always took the best songs live. And but I really do, Give us a little recitation.
Oh,
I can't remember about
Can
that.
you not?
No, I really can't,
How funny.
But,
my boys would like that, a song about blowing off.
It's a really good story, No, I can't remember.
Well,
it's a talking blues, anyway.
It is such a thrill to have you in the studio.
Thank you.
Bill,
it's nice to be here.
You've been, I don't want to say you've been around forever, because that sounds a bit rude.
Oh, yes, that's what I feel.
I grew up watching you. And, I remember as a kid watching the Goodies, and I had never seen anything funnier. Literally lying on the floor, holding my stomach, with the things that I remember. In particular, were the giant Dougal from the Magic Roundabout.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Yes, that was in the credits, so it really sticks in your mind.
That was funny. And looking for the source of the M1. And I don't know why that one has stuck in my mind so much, but it was just literally, when you're a kid and you cannot stop laughing and it hurts. I had that with you.
Well, I'm really glad, and I don't want to undermine that in any way, but you're not the first.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's huge.
It's really sweet, and in Australia particularly, where they show the shows even now quite a bit, and I've been there 2 or 3 times, and people are like, blimey, you're part of my childhood, mate.
You mentioned getting banned by the BBC, and I know a little bit about you. I've read your autobiography from a few years back, and I've looked at it. I know all the dark secrets. BBC don't seem to like you very much, do they? They keep seeming to pull the plug on you, and I don't get it.
Well, It's one of the mootest points, and I very rarely talk about it much, but I have been a little puzzled, I have to admit myself. Down the years, in fact, I don't think that's really been true. You know, I was with the Goodies, that lasted forever. Then I moved over to the wildlife side. I always suspected that some of the hard nut wildlifers from in Bristol, you know, where the Natural History Unit is, sort of, you know, oh, you're not a proper wildlife person.
Really?
I always suspected that, but I had no proof, I must admit. But I made natural history programmes for about 10 or more years there. My own series, lots of my own series. And then, of course, it focused all on Spring Watch and Autumn Watch, which had two sort of pilot versions before it got there in other years. But I still did about 4 or 5 years on that. And then it all fell apart one autumn when we were filming on Brownsea Island down in Dorset. Lovely place, red squirrels and everything. Yeah. And usually a film crew. And because they're all easy to film. But and it was a nasty atmosphere all the time. And I think collectively there were several things contributed to it. One was it was just about the time of Jonathan Ross and what's his name?
Russell Brand.
Russell Brand.
That phone call.
That was all over the papers all the time. Yeah. So we were constantly getting warnings from our producers that the lawyers were watching.
Oh, everyone at the BBC was terrified.
I know they were. And it spilled over to us, but there's a limit to what they can really tell you on a live programme as well. And I felt at the time, because I felt there was an atmosphere or something like that, and I worked like crazy on those programmes because it was virtually day and night, and I was recording things during the day for it, and I'd come up with scripts for it and everything else, you know. And it was a wonderful show to do. And I was then, just before Christmas, I think, or not long after that series, called in to the office, whoever it was, and said, we won't be asking you to do the next series. And, you know, I was absolutely gobsmacked, I have to admit, and very hurt and very upset. And I never, to this day, I do not feel there was a proper explanation of that. The other side to it, an eventual side to it, was, you know, it's fairly well known that I'd sort of been finally diagnosed as being bipolar in nature, which shouldn't take much spotting. As one doctor once said to me, if you only have to watch the Goodies, you obviously are. Yeah, I know what you mean. That's manic depressive if ever there was, you know. And I think I might have been hyper, but not dangerous or anything like that. I never have been. Perhaps during that filming period, and was very impatient with people if the jobs weren't being done well. But, you know, this is live television and you're on the line, and if somebody's failed to hand you something, And to this day, I would say, well, I don't know. Doesn't seem justified to me.
There's also the treatment of the Goodies, because
everyone,
and we'll get on to fun stuff, and we'll talk about the book, I promise. I don't want this to be a whole downer, but we can do it if you want. But, you know, obviously Monty Python, and I know you work with the Pythons, and you know, Monty Python, Monty Python. But the Goodies, they never get repeated. Then, as far as I'm aware, there's only a handful out on DVD, if any.
No, there's quite a lot.
Oh, have they done that
There
now?
are quite a lot on DVD. Whether they're in the shops, I don't know, because since the development of Amazon and digital music, I never go to record shops anymore, largely because there aren't any.
Yeah, they're all gone.
You know, so you're never going to see it sort of stacked up there. But there are a fair number.
It took a while, though. They were late to come out, weren't they?
Oh, God, yes.
For years,
and
you
the
couldn't get them.
repeats things was baffling. For several years after we finished, I mean, it may be you're never forgiven at the BBC if you actually ended up going to ITV at some point, which we did, because the BBC wouldn't fix any programmes or series, you know. They said, we don't know yet. We're going to wait and see whether they've got the budget. And eventually Mr. ITV came over and said, come over to us, we'll pay you a lot more. And they did. Yeah. We earned far more from ITV in 1 year than we earned in 10 years.
Wow.
You know, it really was like that. So offer you can't say no to, particularly, really. But nevertheless, it then, that finished, and somebody else comes in, somebody who used to work at the BBC suddenly pops up at ITV and said, I fired you at once, I'll do it again.
Yeah.
This sort of thing. And then we just then fell into this mode of, are they ever going to bring any shows out, or anything like that? There didn't seem to be any danger of doing any other programmes of any kind. And we never really found out why. We suspect there was one wonderful piece of BBC Think. It isn't just BBC Think, but sort of excuse was something like, we only bring VDs out of shows that have sold well.
What? Hang on
and you say, but they won't sell well if you haven't brought them out. And they try and get away with that.
There is a lot of that strange BBC. I worked at the BBC. They sacked me because I had an argument with a bigot. I called a bigot a bigot. But I still love the BBC. Yeah. But there is a lot of strange thinking that goes on in that place, and you can't make sense of it.
No.
I want to talk more about the comedy in a minute. But, you've got a book out.
Yes, I do, yes.
Now, do you remember the title of the book, Bill Oddie?
I do. It's rather convoluted, and I'm sorry to use such big words at this time of night, but I know your excellently educated audience will understand it. The short is, I won't remember this.
Come on, you said you knew it.
Yes, I do, nearly. Confessions of a Ludicrous Bird Garden.
Are you sure?
No,
Tales
from a Ludicrous Bird Garden. Tales from a Ludicrous Bird Garden. The only key words you want from that are ludicrous and garden.
Right.
And if anything, ludicrous should come first.
Okay.
Because it also says on the front of the book, very garish, colourful cover, quite fun actually. You can look at that for ages. Actually.
Buy it just for the cover, guys.
Right,
forget the words inside.
No, don't forget them. No. Bit of both. They follow on. They belong together. No, we've got that. I insisted on this little strap over the bottom of the book, of the cover, saying this is not another book telling you how to lure wildlife into your garden.
Right.
Because there are far too many of them. I mean, and then I wrote a little bit in the foreword about that, but there are.
Right.
I'm not knocking them,
yeah.
But I don't understand why publishers just bring out essentially the same book with a slightly different title, year after year after year. It's not about that at all. It's more, we think of it more of a sort of autobiography in a way, encompassed in the gardens.
It's your relationship with gardens throughout your life.
With my own gardens.
You were telling
me... But it's not even outdoor, Right. I mean, there's bits of it where there's, I think there's one section on the birds and animals that have managed to get into our back room. Another one.
Is there anything more exciting than a bird that's flown inside a house?
It's good.
Oh, it's the most exciting thing. Everyone panics. The bird panics.
Yeah.
Someone tries to open the window. Oh, it's brilliant.
Well, and this is where I'm called on, you see. My family are not edgy too much, but I don't think they like it much. And if it's a wasp or a bee, they're really in trouble. But, there's something in the back room. There's something in the back room. And
where's Bill? Where's Dad? Come on.
Yeah, and so I come to that, and of course I can pull rank here. I said, it's okay, look, listen, I was a ringer. I used to ring birds.
Now, you were telling me this. This is where you would catch a bird and put a little ring on its legs to say that you'd spotted it. And
well, it's just, it all goes into a huge data bank. Of course, it's all digitalised now. They actually put an aerial and a speaker on the back of the bird sort of thing.
Do they?
It's absolutely stunning.
Oh, wow.
It's fantastic. Little tiny doings which, can tell you where the bird is and what it's doing.
Oh,
there's some wonderful stuff going on like that. But in those days, it was very primitive. You put a ring on. It used to say, inform British Museum, as if you knew how to do that, and a number on it. And basically, if you ever found a bird with that ring, it's unlikely to drop off.
Yeah.
But you might find a dead one sometimes. And if you're in an area where people are professionally, as it were, trapping birds, they do get quite a few what they call retraps.
Right.
But in my day, I was still only a teenager and I wasn't allowed to do all that. But there were some sort of black market rings available, and there were little plastic rings, and they were coloured, and there was a little thing like a spoon.
Like a horse?
Yes.
What do
You're
they call
right.
it?
Whatever you're saying, you're right. Oh no, horse. Not a horse.
Shoehorn.
Shoehorn. Got mixed up with.
It's 20 past 10.
That's
on a
right.
Thursday.
Tiny little thing would go on the bird's leg.
Yeah.
And then you let it go, and at least in those days, if I saw the same colours, I'd know. Oh, that bird's been coming back for a couple of years now,
Right.
and that sort of thing.
Tell me the story about, you were telling me just before we came back, your poor granny. Oh, God.
Yes, well, my granny, I won't go on too much, she's quite little. She's a little tiny granny. And there was no mother at home and my dad was off at work. So my granny was my only company around the house, and I don't think she cared for me very much, and I wasn't that keen on her for a while. But I managed to put her to work. And she was very willing and very good, because I'd made these little chicken wire traps. They were really just a box, and one side was held up by a little stick, and a piece of string then tied onto the stick would go back towards the house. And you might be thinking, well, I would be hidden somewhere with the string, but no. No, hidden behind the little shed we had was Granny, and she had the end of the string. And so I'd go halfway down the garden so I could see, and I put the bait in the trap, something like that. Yes. And the minute there was a couple of usually blue tits and great tits, I'd have to signal to it, pull.
She did, and she
yanked him away, and the proof is there, because I still have a little exercise book.
Have you really?
With the names,
Bill.
With the names of the birds and the measurements that I used to take, and in my granny's handwriting, the name of the birds and the date and that. And of course, she's wobbly old handwriting. I can't read a word of it.
Yeah, of course, old ladies' handwriting.
Yes, they do. Yes,
they've got exactly the same writing.
Yes, they do actually.
Oh, what treasure though to still have that.
And the other, she sort of, in a funny sort of way, got her own back for. No, I wasn't being nasty to her. I think she found a great deal of satisfaction to contribute to modern ornithology, she would. But there was one, she did shame us all being me and my dad, because in that garden, in the edge of Birmingham, we just let the lawn, that's all there was, a lawn and bits of tangly-bangly stuff around the lawn, and we just let it go. My dad wasn't interested, I wasn't interested, I'd rather have a big, long grass lawn, And my granny, though, it was an affront to her in case anybody came round to play Scrabble or whist or something like that, and say, oh, that lawn, I'm sorry, they won't touch it, They won't touch it, none of them, they won't do it. I'm going to have to do something myself. And with those words ringing in my ears, a couple of days I came home from school, and I looked at Chris and said, where's Granny? I'd just been through the house. And I was on my own and said, where the dickens is she, Granny? Where is she? And I went out into the garden, and I looked out over this grass as tall as elephant grass or something, and it was just gently swaying. And I thought, that's just like you get when there's an elephant or a tiger or something going through. You can't see it. And it was swaying. So I tiptoed towards it and eventually found in the middle of the lawn, completely invisible from the edge, Granny in an apron on all fours.
Oh, no.
Cutting the lawn.
No.
With a pair of scissors.
Oh, no, Bill, she wasn't.
She was.
Oh, God, that is brilliant. You couldn't write that, could you?
I did. I did. I didn't make it up, but I did. That's exactly. I hope that gives you an idea of the sort of thing. Yeah. It's anecdotes from that period, and I've got a lot. The present garden, I live in North London, which, that's the ludicrous garden, because my wife gave me the title. One day she came out into the garden, which I do tend to make strange areas in, and not just plant things, but build things and things like that. And she just came out, she hadn't been out for ages, because it makes her feel funny. And she just went, this garden is ludicrous. So, thank you, darling. That's exactly what I'm trying to do.
That's the look I'm going for. I love you too.
Exactly that. And she's never been in there since. That's the truth. But she has got a rather nice conventional garden on a little flat roof we got. So we're both happy. But that's the main garden, and there's a lot of characters in it.
Yeah.
I'll whet your appetite.
Yes. So the book is Tales from a Ludicrous Bird Garden.
Yeah, forget the bird bit. It's just a garden.
They told you to put that word in.
Yes, that's right. You say, oh no, you never sell it if you don't put bird in. I say, but it's misleading. Doesn't matter. You go with it. And there are birds in it. There's quite a lot about how some of our neighbours hate some of the birds.
Right.
I'd relish the fight the next door neighbour had, not literally with, but because of the parakeets, which you've probably seen in London.
Yeah.
And they're spreading all over the place. And of course, early morning parakeet noise is quite loud.
Yeah.
He's going on like this, and but he really took against it. You know?
Really?
Oh yes, and he's. They always blame me. I came out of the house one morning and said, "When are you going to do something about those parakeets?" I said, "What do you mean? When are you going to do something
But
about
you're
those?"
the bird man.
Yes, that's right.
I've seen you on telly.
No, I've been blamed for all sorts of things like that.
We've got. I live out in Windsor. And
oh yes, well you've certainly got them down there.
We've got these lovely green parakeets, and on a good day, if you look out in the back garden, there can be 30 or 40 of them in the trees. Beautiful.
Absolutely. Listen, at the roosts, because they make big roosts in winter in some places, and there was one at Esher rugby ground. That's right. Yeah. And I filmed that way long ago, and there was something like 6,000 birds came in. You know, it was incredible. Yeah. All these poplar trees were just dangling with birds. Wow. It was beautiful. But they're not welcome down our road by some of the people, and so I had to put up with, to a certain extent, of attempts to scare them away, which included putting up a great big pole with a paper kite dangling in it,
right,
which is supposed to look like a kite.
Yeah,
you know, not just a
they
paper
don't
kite,
fall
but
for
a real
that
kite.
stuff, do they?
No, they don't.
No.
Exactly. And I had to say, listen. I'm sorry. It's not going to work. You know, you put a kite up there for a start. The kite is not a predator of any kind. You know, they just eat sort of bits and pieces out the road and all that. And it's not going to impress or worry the parakeets, especially because it's hanging upside down.
Bill, we have to take a break because I've missed two already. This is Talk Radio. I'm Iain Lee. Bill Oddie is with me. Let's have some ads.
Late night, Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
We're just chatting about Bill's garden. Tell me, when you say an infestation of rats, how many rats?
Yeah, I reckon...
By the way, stay there, Philip. We'll come to you in a minute. Philip's got a question for you, but we'll come to that.
Am I on now?
We're on the radio now.
Oh, right,
yes.
Brilliant, right. Yeah, anybody who doesn't like rats, don't worry. I haven't got any in the studio, and I'm not going to stuff any down the airwaves.
No.
So there we go. But, no, I was in by the back door, which looks out of the garden, and I saw a couple of rats down on a flower bed. And we don't have them all the time by any means, so I wasn't that shocked. But the next day, it was a couple more, and I thought, oh, this is getting a bit worried. My wife, by this stage, was naturally saying, we've got to get a man in. I don't know who this man is, but he gets called by every person.
The Rat Man.
That's a rapper, isn't he? Or something? And I said, no, it's just, this often happens, just 3 or 4 and they'll disappear. And then, I think it was one afternoon, I was by that window and I saw several rats climb over the fence right by the window from the next door house. And I couldn't believe it. This continued for about 5 or 10 minutes. And they just flowed over like a river of rats. And
that's a great name for a band.
It's good, isn't it? River of Rats, absolutely. And we have those little cage bird feeders. And someone managed to get inside. So there were 6 rats in one feeder. And of course, as soon as I opened the door, they panicked like mad. They couldn't get out. People were going, and the little baby ones who are quite sweet. You know, if you actually see a baby rat, it's easily mistaken for a mouse. But There must have been, I reckon, definitely 100 rats went over at that point. They dissipated quite quickly, if that's the right word. And eventually a rat man was called to pronounce on this. And he said, "What are they? They're probably migrating." And I said, "No, they're not. They don't migrate. You know, they don't suddenly decide."
He picked the wrong house to bullshit.
He did, didn't he?
Animal facts.
And no, I said, no. There's something else going. I said, there's some, and I said, I don't know if it's anything to do with it, but next door is having the whole of that house gutted and rebuilt. And he said, And I said, he said, was there a lot of drilling? And I said, yes, there's a great deal of drilling and banging and that. And he said, well, in that case, they're flying, as it were, away from that. They're running away from it. And the reason is probably lost in history, but in the olden days, when they didn't even have houses, they used to have earthquakes.
Yeah.
And so animals, rats included, would go, hello, the earth's moving, we better get out of here. And I think that's exactly what they thought.
My mother-in-law's Greek, and she was on Zakynthos when there was a huge earthquake, I think in the 50s. She was a little girl, and she just said the rats were everywhere. It's like it was a sea of rats.
Yeah.
Bill, we've got a question. There's some headphones there, sir.
Oh, yeah.
If you put them on, if you follow that cable around, there should be a little volume lead. A little volume knob at the end of that cable. Let's go to Philip. Hello, Philip. You're through to
Ian,
Bill
Good
Oddie.
evening, Bill.
Bloody hell. I'm really loud.
Is it too loud? I'm going to come and turn you down.
He's going to come and turn me down.
Okay,
Believe you me, I've been turned down many times.
How's about that?
A little bit more.
Okay.
Up.
Okay.
Yes, that's lovely.
Is that it?
Lovely.
Beautiful.
Can I have a bit of echo
I'll
on
say
that,
it again.
please?
Good evening, Ian. Good evening, Bill. Before I ask my question, Bill, I've got a copy of Nothing Better to Do.
Oh, yes.
Which is your great record about the day trips down to Brighton on motorbikes.
Well, that's what he played at the beginning of the programme.
Oh, did you? I tuned in late.
And that's what you missed.
No.
My question, Bill, how did you get to film those amazing raccoons in Central Park at midnight?
Oh, there was nothing to do with that song then.
No.
Well, to be perfectly honest, that was in Central Park, as you say, and the raccoons there are, I suppose the nearest equivalent here is urban foxes, and they're raiding all the rubbish boxes and so on and so forth, and you just wait, and suddenly little black and white head, of course they look a little bit like a cross between a badger and a bear or something, you know. And I was a bit naughty, actually, because one of them was jumping.
Yes, I remember.
He was jumping from from the edge of the basket out onto a tree or something, or the railings, and I just moved the basket about 3
I
inches.
remember that. I mean, the bins were so full, weren't they, as well?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's, I don't know to what extent they control them. I mean, all Americans have a understandable bit of a thing about them, you know, so they're not encouraged, but I don't know how much culling or control there is.
Philip, thank you.
Those programmes are really wonderful. I mean, you had the one on the birds of New York.
Yeah, I love that programme, actually. I was very fond of that.
I should warn you, Bill, once we get Phil started, there's no...
really?
So I'm going to cut him off now. Thank you, Philip.
Okay,
Thank you, Philip.
You can take those headphones off now. And I do want to talk comedy, but I also... You mentioned something before you came in. I did read George Bogfey a couple of years ago. How long ago did that come out?
It's probably, you know how time flies like them clappers at this stage in life, and it's probably about 8 years or something.
I read
like
it a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it's probably something like that.
It was, because I suffer from depression. Not manic depression, but I have depression, and to read your account, if I got this right, you kind of first became aware of it when you were driving and you got a speeding ticket, or...
I think that was, they always, if one's discussing depression, as you will no doubt know, somebody will say, what set it off? What was the trigger?
Yes.
And sometimes you're perfectly within your rights to say, there wasn't one, really. But in this case, it wasn't the incident itself, it's the way it just nagged at me. And I'd got a speeding summons for speeding about 5 miles, honestly, Governor, over a temporary 60-mile-an-hour thing on a motorway. So, and I just couldn't I couldn't get the injustice off my mind. I thought, that wasn't even signposted. You know, they sometimes put things down and they, that was a 60-mile-an-hour. I didn't even know, so I haven't lost it. I'm still bitter.
Yeah.
And I was also thinking, I hadn't got lots of points or anything on my licence, but I thought, I don't want to get banned or anything. It's really wrecked my life at the moment, because I did drive a lot for film locations and that sort of thing. And completely out of proportion, I remember that just nagging at me all the time. And I think I was beginning to drive people balmy around me because I'd look for comfort, and sort of say, they won't actually do anything, will they, for that? I'll be okay, won't I? But they didn't make a meal of it, as it turned out, because, I had to get my producer to come along. He volunteered to come along and say, he'd never known me do anything, and which was mainly true, Not anything that he saw, anyway. Yeah.
But how are you feeling? Are you feeling all right now?
I'm feeling very... Did you say that because I don't look it? Oh, God.
You look wonderful. You look radiant, Mr. Oddie.
Well, no, I do feel fine now. I mean, the horrible thing with this sort of thing, whether it's depression or the various offshoots of that kind of thing, is you never really know whether you've been cured or not. I mean, I've had this on and off for, I imagine, at least 10 years, I think. One of the interesting things is it didn't emerge in any way I recognised before that, That's how late it was, And then it took those 10 years for some psychiatrist to decide to say, have we considered bipolar here?
Wow.
And my wife in particular, bless her, were saying, yes, would we please do that, And I was finally put on lithium, and the effect was fantastic.
Really?
Yeah, I remember a couple of weeks later ringing up my daughters and them saying, "Dad's back."
Oh, wow.
So that was good.
Oh, wow.
But there've been some pretty dodgy periods.
It gets dark.
They've been very dark. I've gone the sleeping pill route twice. I didn't think you really wanted to end it.
What, you tried to kill yourself?
I took the pills, yeah.
I think
basically... Oh, it must have been in the sun when it existed.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah. I
didn't believe it. That's fine.
Only mention this if you're comfortable. I don't want to.
No, I don't mind. It's been mentioned occasionally. I just don't want to go over it again because I decided, having started having these various bouts in various forms. I don't mind talking a bit about it.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of people saying they were glad that I and other people did, other people who have that. But I thought I gave what I thought were quite useful. I gave a couple of lectures almost to GPs, a room full of GPs in London and Birmingham and Bristol or somewhere, and they wanted to find out more from a bipolar sufferer, as it were. And I had quite a lot to say to them, actually, because that's where it starts, if they fob you off with stuff or don't push you into the right people or they don't recognise it. I said, if anybody comes in with depression, ask about whether they have the upside of it as well, the manic side of it as well. Because, obviously, if they are in a manic period, they won't go to a doctor.
Yeah.
Of course
they're
they
superhuman.
won't. You think, I'm great, I'm fine.
Unstoppable.
Yeah. And I've been very lucky that there's never been anything sort of... I've had a couple of friends who, one of them was bipolar and sold up his house and God knows what else, crazy things. And I've been very fortunate that hasn't happened. But I do now recognise, looking back, periods where I was hyper in the extent that it was actually almost a good thing, as I'd work, I could work very fast, I could come up with scripts very quickly, and unfortunately I think it also has a certain amount of impatience with other people you're working with.
Because they're not working at the same speed that your brain is going.
Exactly, and so I think that's as bad as it gets, but... I can't say goodbye to it. I don't know. There was a period over this last Christmas where it wasn't, thank God, active depression. Yeah. It was the just lie in bed and can't get up type of depression. Yeah. But I didn't feel... I didn't feel that doomy. But... Just
as we were coming on, you mentioned you were suffering from auditory hallucinations. Is that connected, do you think, or is that...
no, I don't think it is. It's this. If any of your listeners have anything to say on it, either tonight or any other time for the next 6 years, keep going. It was about about sort of 3 months ago, I think. And I was working in my office, and I could hear what sounded to me like a band and a vocal, and occasionally a sort of announcer-type voice. And I went out onto the landing and said, "Laura, is that you?" And she said, "What?" I said, "Are you playing the radio?"
No.
And she said, "No." "Oh, that's strange." Anyway, cut a very long story short, that kind of thing continued. And has continued. I had a right old go today at lunchtime, and
it sounds absolutely real.
It sounds totally real, but the best description is it sounds like a radio next door.
Right, yeah.
You know, and of course if you follow it, it either goes with you or sometimes fades. It's when I go for weeks, I was sort of going around the house thinking somebody's playing music around here.
Gosh.
You know, there's a band practicing, and that's one of the other weird things. Is everything that I hear is like a brass-heavy big band with vocals, mainly male, occasionally female, and with this sort of announcery voice that goes, which has to be BBC in the 1950s or something, you know, sort of thing.
You're not picking up radio waves in your head, are you? Like people used to do with their fillings.
Who knows?
Isn't that interesting?
Who knows? And I've read about it now. Naturally, there's sort of American professors written a book on it and that. And it's not that unusual.
Right.
Often it's generally accepted, and I can think this is right, actually, that it's an extreme form of tinnitus.
Right.
Because I get it's not big, but I've constantly got in my left ear a slight hiss.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice it most of the time. And then I'm thinking, wait a minute, I've got that there now, but I haven't got that in this ear. And it's like the hiss. It should be record, shouldn't it? The hiss of the record going round.
Yeah.
It goes, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we present the BBC Light Orchestra singing Songs of the South." You know.
Because I get tinnitus, because I do this job and I have these headphones on,
Well,
and I have
yes.
them too loud.
Yes.
So in a silent room, I've got kind of a jangling in my right ear, and
Yeah.
it's like a hum in the
Yeah.
left. And it's,
Well, so many people do with
Yeah.
the life in earphones, and you know, musicians. I know quite a few rock musicians
Yeah, of
who
course.
just had to take it for granted.
You're friends with one of my heroes, Dave Davis from the Kinks.
Well, I wouldn't say friends, but he was a lovely guy. And
He said,
loved
I
meeting him.
tweeted him today, and
Oh,
he said, "Oh,
bless
you'll
him.
have fun with Bill. He's a legend."
He's
so.
a very sweet guy.
Isn't he?
He really was nice, and he was on a programme where I proved once and for all that I was incapable of being taught how to play the guitar.
Really?
Yes, I just can't. I'm having the same trouble with computers, and that's another story. But I just can't sort of
How
practice.
did you write all
anything
the
like that.
songs then? Were you on piano?
I don't know,
or you just
no.
sang them?
I used to sing. I had a little cassette recorder, and I used to sing, first of all, a bass line and tap out a drum with my hands just on the top. And then I'd put the tune on top. It wasn't overdubbed usually.
Yeah.
And just sing the top. And then I go through that with my MD or actually piano player. Most of the time, Dave McRae, who, you know, try some chords. And it was literally, I said, try, give me a couple of chords. And no, I don't like that, Dave. They must.
Bill Oddie, what's your language? I've had to dump you.
No, it's a music. I was trying to revive language in the rock studio.
Yes,
you know,
they must flipping hate you.
Yes, that's right. Because, you know, I'd have this team, this band of really hot musicians.
Yeah.
We had some really good people, and they're having to listen to me sort of singing things. I mean, my most embarrassing moment when I look back at it, I did a very short and not particularly spectacular what they call it demo.
Yeah.
That's right, demo with George Martin in charge. Wow. And I walked in, and even I know just how much more. And there was sort of Rick Wakeman on piano and John Paul Jones on bass and so on and so forth, and Mitch Mitchell. And drums. Hendrix drummer at that point, still wearing a little mod suit and everything else. Yeah. And I look back now and think, I actually, for half an hour or less, I hope, was trying to show Mitch Mitchell a particular rhythm. You know, I wanted that Bo Diddley feel, dink, 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 that thing. That.
One of the greatest drum improvisers of all time. We've got Tony and Kyle. We will come to you. I promise I'll squeeze you in before 11. The comedy. How you were in the Cambridge Footlights?
Yes. I mean, it's sort of gone into history, and well, it might, I suppose, because you know I happened to be at Cambridge at a time which just followed on from Beyond the Fringe with Peter Cook and Dudley Moore and that. My years at Cambridge included John Cleese, Tim Brooke Taylor, Graham Garden, Graham Chapman, and so on and so forth. You know, and so it's all luck. We just happened to be there at the right time, and we were also lucky. We had to put a good word for the BBC, and heaven knows we've only been joshing. We don't want to offend any BBC listeners who probably listen to talk radio,
yes, of course,
instead of their programmes. But no, they actually were in the habit of sending people along to look at the shows, you know, and Footlight shows, and we kind of got our first radio break by that. A producer coming along and said, "I'm going to try and get you guys on the radio."
You say luck, and a lot of this business is luck, and it's someone being at the right thing, but also talent. I mean, you mentioned Chapman, Cleese, Tim Brooke Taylor, Graham.
It's a pretty remarkable bunch, isn't it? Eric Idle as well.
You were all incredibly funny and clever people, and clever with the English language. So there's luck, but there's also a lot of talent in there as well.
Well, maybe to a certain extent, you know, that's one of the Oxford and Cambridge sort of link is sometimes a bit of you try and play down, really.
Yeah.
You know, for God's sake, the Oxbridge boys, you know, and all this sort of thing. But I guess there was a certain flair and an edge there, and confidence probably.
Confidence, I think, is a key thing from those. Well, remind me of the name of the radio show, because
I'm sorry, I'll read that again.
4 Extra are playing it at the moment.
Are they?
BBC Radio 4 Extra, they play it out throughout the day, so I get to hear it as I'm driving into work.
Yeah.
And it stands up. It sounds young, it sounds naive, but a lot of it stands up, you know, and a lot of it is, you can hear Monty Python, you can hear the goodies in it, you can hear clever comedy from the late 60s and 70s, you know, it coming from
where
that
it came from,
source,
Absolutely. I mean, I've always sort of likened that particular comedy movement for what it is, and I don't think there's been any quite as big as that. There's been a sort of Manchester University mob and that sort of thing, that kind of thing, which is, you know, it's fabulous, it's great, and I liken more to a music scene. I say, well, it's a bit like bands, you know, where the lead guitarist says, "I'm going to leave, man. I've got to get a different kind of music. I hear that in my head, like that Bill Oddie, he does too." And they go somewhere else. And it was a bit like that, or, you know, especially when they did, there was a show called Larton 1948 show, which Tim Brooke Taylor was in, along with Cleese and...
Palin and Jones were in that, weren't
I think they probably were, a little bits or something. And then they did, Graham Garden and I did a show where they did films, and, you know, it all made sense. And I say, it's quite, there was a lot of swapping around.
Yeah.
And
wife swapping.
I never thought of it like that. More like centre-forward swapping.
We've got... Bill, put those headphones on. Let me know if they're too loud. We'll take a couple of calls, and then we'll let you... An hour's gone. Look at this. Let's go to Tony. Tony, what have you got for us?
Oh, how you doing?
Hey, Tony.
Hello.
Firstly, may I add, Bill, it's an absolute honour and a privilege to speak to an absolute national treasure tonight.
Have you got a sausage in your mouth, Tony? It sounds very muffled.
Very muffled, a bit more top.
I do apologise. Can you...
That's a bit better,
Yeah, go on.
Can you hear a little bit better?
Go on, I'll translate.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, firstly, Bill, absolute honour and a privilege to speak with a national treasure, may I add.
Thank you very much.
And you are such.
Get to your question, you creep. Come on, for crying out loud. What is this?
I'm not going to blow sunshine up his say-so. Anyway, Bill, firstly, I have a question, Bill, with your experience and your knowledge. When I was a young child, sparrows, as a bird, were in abundance in the UK.
Yes, they were, yeah.
Do we see
and what's happening
now?
What has happened to the sparrows, Bill?
Yeah. It's it's a debated question amongst, heavy ornithologists, the public, everything. And there's no doubt about it, because you have those memories of certain things, swallows, feeding swallows in Regent's Park. Even I used to when I first came to London, and they'd be all over your arms and your hands. But it is true, they have diminished a very great deal. And for a long time, and I think even now, nobody's quite sure why.
Yeah.
It seems to be a combination. One is that there are less nesting places, because they do like sort of scrubbly old places and, buildings that are left quiet with some holes in the bricks and that.
Bomb sites
that
and
sort of
stuff.
thing. Yeah, bomb sites and stuff, yeah. They are a terrific habitat. And also, there seems to be, the same sort of thing happening with insects. If you used to go for a drive when I was a kid, and your windscreen, I wasn't driving when I was a kid, of course, my dad was one, and the windscreen would be covered in moths, when you got home. It doesn't happen now at all. And, when the young sparrows, when they're in the nest, they rely on caterpillars and small soft food, as they call it.
Right.
So it's like nearly every decline.
Yeah.
It's and there's a bit of shifting going on. If it's any slight consolation, I think some areas in Wales and one or two more in Scotland are actually not doing too bad. And I'm seeing a small increase in Britain. There's a little flock established itself just down the road from where I live.
Okay. Well, we've got time for one more quick question. Put those headphones on, please, Mr. Oddie. Kyle, can you make it brief?
Yeah, of course I can. Hi, Ian. Hi, Bill.
Hello.
Bill, it was just it's great to speak to you. It was a simple question. Coming as a working lad from Rochdale to ending up in Cambridge, was that difficult for you, or were people quite accepting?
It wasn't difficult, and the reason entirely was I moved away from Rochdale. Now I think about it, that's the key thing, because my dad moved to the edge of Birmingham when I was about 7 or 8. There's no disrespect to Rochdale, which is terribly entertaining and is in the news frequently, as we all know, and will go on quickly. But I moved to the edge of Birmingham, and I went to King Edward School, Birmingham, which is a pretty high-powered school. It's not exactly a public school, but it's a great school, and it still is. I've visited there once or twice, and it's, I think, yep, that's a good school. And so I didn't feel intimidated particularly, went up to university, except because it was national service. It was just at the end of it. I missed it. But there were quite a few people who had done it, so there were some strapping 24-year-olds there, all playing in the Cambridge rugby team. And as a rugby player myself, I took a couple of looks and a couple of trials and thought, I'm not going to make this.
Bill, I could talk to you all night, but I should let you go. We've had now, it's Tales from a Ludicrous Bird Garden is the book. I'm going to tweet the links and all of that. Get your people to pull their finger out and send me a copy. Very quickly, literally 1 minute. And as I'm thinking this question, I think I know the answer to it.
Oh, well, don't ask it then.
Well, I want to... Why are you not Sir Bill Oddie?
Oh,
Have you turned it down? Have they asked you and you've said...
No, not Sir.
Come on.
Listen, what I am is OBE, and I'm unbuttoning my thing there.
What's going on here?
I now wear my OBE. Can't you feel the presence?
I've never seen one. He's wearing it. That's incredible.
I thought about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I thought this thing's been hanging up in my room.
He's wearing it.
Yeah, I always wear something round my neck, so that's it. It's tarnished already, so I'll be complaining to the Queen. But no, it would be embarrassing. I mean, this only just got in. I don't want to be disparaging to the whole idea, but if it had been 3 weeks later and Blair had decided to go to war in the Middle East, I wouldn't have taken it.
You'd have said no. Bill Oddie, I love you so much.
Oh, bless you.
I really do. I've had such a lovely hour talking to you. Thank you so much. The book is Tales from a Ludicrous Bird Garden. The BillOddie.com, by the way, is a brilliant website. Whoever's built that is a genius. I love it.
My daughter.
She's done a cracking job.
Yeah,
Bill.
she has, hasn't she? With a bit of help from me, but basically I can't do the technical stuff.
It looks wicked.
She can.
Bill, thank you so much. This is Talk Radio.
Late night, Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
1, 2, 3. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Sikam, Hare Sikam, Sikam Sikam, Hare Word, Hare Roy, Hare Gold, Hare Pare, Hare Dobrinovich, Hare Loda, Hare Langdon, Hare Champion, Hare Chess, Hare Kiri, Hare Cobbins, Hare Along Now, Hare Vadarche Roma, Aristotle, Aristarchus, Harry Corbett, Sleep and Sooty, Sooty Sooty, Sleepy Corsut, Sooty Corbett, Albert Corby, Sooty Harry, Harry Sweepsuit, Sooty Sweepbed, Harry Harry, I really must go.
But baby, it's cold outside.
Come on. Ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry, it's my...
Mr. Bill Oddie, I also believe Mr. John Peel was in there as well. Can we just have a moment's silence for that last hour of radio? That's what radio was invented for, kids! Flippin' heck! What a nice bloke. And, I didn't even get half of the questions that I wanted. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did, because that hour just flew by. What an absolutely delightful gentleman. The book Tales from a Ludicrous Bird Garden. It's not really about birds. They told him to put the word birds in so it would sell more. What a delight. Kath, come and join, come one and all. 0344 499 1000. You know, after the day we've had, we've had such a good day, and then to kick off the show with that hour with Bill Oddie, I kind of think we should go home now, and I'll give my fee back to my boss, because I can't get paid for this. I can't get paid for having this much fun. Really, this is no job when it's like that. Look at me and Kath have both got stupid big grins on our face. Nicest gentleman ever.
He's hilarious.
Isn't he?
He said, if you ever want me to come in again, I can talk about music. I don't suppose you talk about music. I went, yes, we do.
Look, this is what
he's a massive jazz fan.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to ask him about music, because on his website, right, his website's brilliant. There's a bit about him, and he doesn't really say a lot about him. He says, I'm really proud of the TV show, I'm really proud of my kids, and that's it. But then he's got a music page, and he just recommends loads and loads of music. And there was so much. I wanted to ask him about how the formation of the Goodies. I wanted to ask him about music, what he was listening to as a kid. Didn't get time to do any of that. Man, he can come in any time he wants. Wasn't that wonderful?
I think he will.
Good. I was tempted to get him to stay for a second hour, and I think I could.
He would have.
Yeah, I think he would have. That was brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's what bloody radio's all about. That's what it's about, is hearing people like that sharing their stuff. And because literally just before the mics went on, when we came in, he said, if you don't mind, I'm having these auditory hallucinations. Do you mind if I mention it on the air and see if people have any kind of, experience of it? What a fascinating man. And I'll be honest, dear listener, we have had the best day ever. Right? Bill Oddie, brilliant. Although I couldn't be in the room when you phoned him up to see if he'd got in his cab or not.
Yeah, that was strange.
That was weird. I'll admit, that was a bit weird.
Yeah, but I know why.
Because I'm weird.
No, because you were really nervous about it.
I was.
It's an unknown quantity. It's someone who's kind of been culturally important to you, and you just don't want to mess it up.
Honestly, it was not an exaggeration. I remember being 6 or 7 and watching the Goodies, and I thought I was going to die because I couldn't catch my breath. Just hysterics, really laughing out loud. So we did that. So we've had Bill on, and that'll go out as a podcast probably next week at some point.
Yeah.
But today was the first annual talk radio game of tag, stroke had, stroke it. And if you've been listening over... Well, we've only had the idea for a week. By the way, if anybody listening can remember the exact moment we came up with the idea, because neither of us can.
I think it's on one of the podcasts.
So can someone let me know how we came up with it? It would have been one of those things where we'd have gone, right, I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to do this.
Was it off the back of Hide and Seek?
No.
Are you sure?
No, not directly. Not directly. I don't think it went back that far. But the plan was that we would meet at Speaker's Corner in London's famous Hyde Park at the famous Speaker's Corner at 3:00, and we'd play a game of tag, stroke had, stroke it. We were not playing Tiggy. So we and Kath got there about 1:45. Mm-hmm. And we think, and the weather was a bit, it was kind of grey, and it was raining, then it wasn't, then it was, and then we got there and it started raining. Will anybody turn up? Well, first person there was Dredge, regular caller to the show. He kind of rocked over looking all embarrassed, and we all looked a bit embarrassed. It's like, well, what are we doing here?
We're meeting in a park to play tag.
Yeah. You'll hear all this tomorrow, by the way. This will go out tomorrow's show when we're in Manchester. You'll hear all, boy, oh boy, have we got a special location to do the show in tomorrow night. I mean, really, what a Manchester homecoming it is for us. So you'll hear all the audio tomorrow, I promise. It may even be the last hour of the show the way it's going. It's an epic.
It is.
It's an epic. Have you finished it?
Yeah, okay. I'm going to put it in the system in a second.
And then who was second to join us? Was it Bruce? Bruce came. And then we had a young German lady came up to us, and she went, she said, "Hello, what is this?" And I thought she was a listener, but, because she looked geeky. But my listeners, I'll be honest, they're normally quite geeky men and women.
Well, they look like us, don't they?
Yes, they do. And I went, "Oh, are you a listener?" She went, "No, what is going on?" And I said, we're having a game of tag. Tag, what is this tag? And we explained the rules to her. She went, "Oh, okay. May I play?" We went, "Are you sure?" She went, "Oh, I would love to." And it was, she'd been working in England for 2 years at L'Arche, this community that helps kind of people with learning difficulties, which I know a tiny bit about. So we were talking, and I said, you really don't have to. If at any point you want to bail out, you go, "Oh, no, this sounds like fun." I think it was I couldn't quite work out when her last day was.
29th.
29th, right, okay. So, that was it. Because I thought it's the 27th. Okay. So it's almost her last day after 2 years. So she stayed. Then some Americans came along, who we almost persuaded, but they were doing a scavenger hunt.
Yeah, which was going to go towards their grades.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, really.
And then loads of people turned, I say loads, we had about 12 people. And over in the corner of this little bit of Hyde Park, there was some young people, and I was being a bit of a dick because I was recording it. I go over and went, hey kids, we're going to be playing tag in a bit.
How old was they? It was someone's birthday.
It was someone's 18th birthday, and the girl who's claiming to be 18, I think they were younger. The girl who, I think it was her 16th, but the girl who was claiming it was her 18th birthday had half a pint of wine. She had just poured half a pint of wine into one of those plastic pint glasses.
Classy.
And I said, we're going to be playing Had, kids, if you want to come and join us. And they went, yeah, all right, give us a shout when it starts. And 5 of them came and joined us. 3 girls and 2 really fast boys.
Yeah.
Really fast.
And the girls, to be honest, it was deceptive. Because they'd obviously had quite a bit of wine.
Yes, they had.
They were also wearing very tight jeans, and I thought, right, these are not runners. Oh my God! Well, everyone outran me in the end.
Well, you came in sports kit.
Yeah, well, I thought that was the form, man.
And you were worse than Dredge.
Oh, I'm a terrible runner. I hate sport.
And we played for about 40 minutes. Well, for half of it, there were about 20 of us playing, and halfway through, the youngsters nicked off.
There were some people sort of gathering on the fringes of the game who I think wanted to play, but we were just too busy.
The Japanese people wanted to play.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for the Indian family that was sat in the middle of the green square because we were using them as to catch our breath. if there was a chase-off between the person who was it and the person who was chasing, they just stand either sides of this Indian family.
There was no home, there was no base.
It was great. It was a perfect-sized bit of grass. It was delineated
yes.
by the fence and the pathway. There was no homie. and we played. The first game lasted about 10 minutes.
There were 3 little boys, by the way, all under the age of about 8.
I think there was 2 7s and a 5.
Yeah.
Oh, God, weren't they adorable?
Adorable. Fast, though. Fast.
Well, one of them kept showing off doing cartwheels.
I know.
Whilst being chased.
I know.
Outrageous.
He was like the Ronaldo we've had.
And you see, when I got the one, there was one that came up to me and said, Ian, I'm a fan of yours. And then he left, he gave me a big hug. Oh, it was lovely. But when I got him, and we didn't let the kids off at all.
No.
We were chasing them. And I tagged him. Did you see him take a tumble?
Yes. I saw you Boris Johnson him.
I never pushed him. I never pushed him. He took
a dive.
I just a light cuff of the head. He went
cuff of the head.
Well, I had to reach him, so I just got
That's
his
not
head.
in the rule book.
You can touch any part of their body.
Well, at one point I did touch one of them with just my fingertips, but he swore I hadn't touched him.
Oh, mate, no,
They were cheating their
mate, that was on
off.
Periscope, that bit. You did not touch
I did.
him.
I felt him. I felt his aura.
No, you didn't. We had 10 minutes, and 10 minutes into it, I'm thinking, Jesus, I'm going to puke. So
we haven't factored any breaks, have we?
So I very quickly introduced the concept of, OK, guys, we've got 30 seconds left. Whoever's on it at the end of 30 seconds is on it for the next game. Thinking on my feet, you see. And then we had a break for a few minutes. Then we had another game. But this time, everyone put their bags down. Because the first one, everyone was carrying bags.
Well, I had my jacket on, and my phone was in my back pocket, and it was bashing my back. It was really slowing me down.
So we all put our phones down, our bags down, and I wasn't recording the second one because I was carrying this digital recorder. And then...
it doesn't really matter, having edited it. There's only so much heavy breathing anyone needs to hear.
All the recording... I thought, I'll do a running commentary of the game. All the recordings me going... Bruce, is it? And then after the second one, the young people left us, and I saw an ice cream van, and I thought, ooh...
that's my favourite part.
I could murder an ice cream. So we didn't go to the ice cream van, but there was a little stand, and I said, guys... ice creams are on me. We've got to have an ice cream. And the sun, this is the thing. The sun had come out. And it was beautiful. It was raining just as we were gathering. But then the sun came out. And it was beautiful. And we all went off. And we all had an ice cream. And we sat there eating ice cream and laughing. Just laughing. And then we went back for the final game of All Man He. Now,
that was my favourite.
Which is... so I was on it. I was it. And then if I tagged Kath, then me and Kath would be it, so we could tag. And then if she tagged someone, there'd be 3 people, and until you're chasing one person.
I wasn't the first person to get got either, for a change.
I was trying to fix it so that you'd be the last one, and so
I wondered
that
whether you were doing that because there were so many times you could definitely have got me.
Yeah. But I can see Bruce is called. Bruce, I'll get to you after the break.
Bruce has just got his breath back.
What was brilliant, right? There were so many things that were brilliant. The 2 main things, right, for me, were 3 things. Firstly, that people turned up, and thank you to everyone who turned up. What a joy, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're as stiff and as awkward as we are now, because we can't get out of our chairs. But thank you so much, right? So that was great. Secondly, having 3 kids there.
Yeah.
Oh, it was brilliant. Thirdly, halfway through the first game, when I stopped to get my breath, and I say this in the thing, but I looked around. Everyone was playing it to the best of their ability. There was no one had their tongues in their cheek. There was no postmodernism. There was no irony.
No one had sloped off and stood behind the barriers.
No. Everyone had committed, and I didn't see 20, people in their 30s and 40s. I saw 20 6, 7, 8-year-olds running around. I mean,
screaming.
There was Harsh. There's a lad called Harsh who came, right? There's a lot of screaming. Harsh, and you might have seen it on Periscope. He was getting out of breath, right? And I was having a bit of a second wind. And he was trying to get me, and I just put my hand out. I was going, "Come on, Harsh, take me." Sorry, mate, you missed.
That was tight. You did that to me as well.
I did that a lot. Honestly, it was so much fun. It was so much fun. So. We will go into breaks. I know I missed all the breaks and the other thing. Here's the thing. We're definitely going to do it again, and we're probably going to do it on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, because actually, a few people had to wag work to come.
Yeah.
And we recognised that it was so much fun. A weekend's probably the best place for it.
So I think we're going to do it on a Sunday afternoon in the summer holidays. Probably London again, I'm afraid. But it's just, here's the thing, I work on a Sunday morning. So my kind of thinking is, I do the Virgin show, finish at 1 o'clock, get to Hyde Park for 2 o'clock, and we have an hour and we do it. So that's going to happen. But now we're thinking bigger than this. Well, first of all, I'm thinking there's money to be made as a fitness regime. All these army training boot camp things. Just play HAD for an hour. But here's the thinking, right? We're thinking bigger. And I need your help, dear listener. Do you live in, own, or are you the caretaker of a stately home, a school, a disused factory? Have you got access to somewhere where about 30 adults can have a really good, and I mean a proper good, game of hide and seek? This is what we want to do now. I think Bruce might have mentioned hide and seek. I don't know. Someone mentioned hide and seek. It was you, was it, Kath?
Yeah.
We want to play hide and seek. But we want to play it somewhere decent. I think it's got to be indoors. It's got to be in a building that's got rooms. It's got to have cupboards, and the owner mustn't mind. About 30. We'd have to limit the numbers on the hide and seek.
And you know what? We would be respectful.
Oh, God. Yes. Adults and kids. But we want to play hide and seek. That is the next mission. So we're going to start looking into that. If you can help us with that, that'll be awesome. Paul, Bruce, stay there. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. This really is tonight the late night alternative on Talk Radio.
Late night, Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
You can listen to Talk Radio on DAB. Have you downloaded the Talk Radio app for your telephones? Or, of course, talkradio.co.uk. No Periscope tonight. Let's go to Bruce. Good evening, Bruce.
Oh, hip, hip, hip.
Oh, mate, how you feeling after this afternoon's activities?
Well, you know, the thing is, after I left you both, I don't go into London as much as I used to anymore. I work a lot from home, so I've got to make the most of it.
Yeah.
And decided to walk around for quite a while, not really thinking about what I'd done.
Yeah.
And, I must have walked about 7 or 8 miles in total, and, I mean, I really hurt now.
We got back to Waterloo, because it's where the station is, and it was chucking it down with rain, absolutely bucketing.
Yeah.
So we went and sat in Starbucks and had, I think I had a peach iced tea. And we sat there for about half an hour waiting for the rain to stop. And then I said, the rain stopped. Let's go back to work. And we were like two old people trying to get out of a chair. We couldn't move. It was awful. And the thing is, it's just dawned on me why, right? Because it wasn't just running. It was running and then changing direction a lot very, very quickly. That was the thing.
Yeah. No, you hit the nail on the head. It seems a lot simpler until you're actually playing it, and then you realise. I mean, I think at one point, Kath was pointing out the way that I was running backwards at times.
Yeah.
It was amusing her because, like you say, it's not the usual kind of things. There was 2 things I wanted to say about today.
If one of those is you want to take me to court for some sort of injury, hey, I'm sorry, buddy. You're on your own, Bruce.
No. It'll be going to Talk Radio. I wouldn't be going to you personally.
Okay, beautiful. I'll give you the email of Danny, yes.
Yes. No, 2 things. So first of all, they often say don't meet your heroes, and I've done that before, and it's not worked out so well. But meeting you and Kath today in person was like meeting old friends, which is stupid because we've never actually met in person before. But speaking to you both for the last, year and a bit, actually meeting you today was amazing.
Oh,
and you were both so kind to see people and spend time with people, and just an absolute joy. And I just wanted to say thank you to both of you for that, because you really made me feel welcome, and I think everyone that turned up welcome. And I also wanted to apologise to everyone else there, because
Bruce had terrible wind. He had terrible wind.
I did.
It was awful, man. We didn't want to say anything.
No, but I did put people in an awkward position. But no, what's quite unusual is that I like to think that I'm quite good with people. I phone up the radio station. I do a podcast, but meeting new people I find a bit awkward.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why I could talk to you and Kath quite easily, but everyone else I was not very talkative too, so I wasn't being rude.
Oh, I don't think anyone would think. Well, listen, it's
No.
very good of you to say that. I don't think anyone would think that for 1 second. If you noticed early on when I was waiting for people to come, I kept walking away from the group because I was totally bricking it. So I kept walking away, going, I'm just going to look for these people and see where they are. And I was thinking to myself, Jesus, Ian, what on earth are you doing here? This is a ridiculous thing that you've arranged, and how the hell are you going to, oversee this? They're expecting you to run it. So I get it, man. I get it. But I don't think anyone thought you were rude for a second. One of my enduring memories of today will be watching Bruce really, really going for a 7-year-old. I mean, he was chasing that lad.
I was determined. He
was really going for it.
Finally just about made it. But, no, I mean, I can't believe how something so silly and juvenile is so much fun. And I think what it is, though, is that, as you said, like, it was like when you were watching everyone, it was like watching a group of children, not a group of adults playing. And I think that says a lot because, there's a lot to be said about doing things as an adult that you do as kids. Like, if you stick a bouncy castle somewhere, especially like a kid's party, you really want all the kids to finish on it so the adults can have a go.
Yeah. Oh, of course, yes.
Or even soft play. I don't take my kids off into soft play because they drive me nuts. But if I am there, I look at it and go, why is there not one of these for me? Why is there one for the small people? Why is there not one for adults?
Yeah.
So there must be something to do there with, like, going back to your childhood and reliving things. So, no, it was a brilliant idea, and I'm glad it's not going to be the only one. And, I just wanted to thank you for setting it up.
Mate, thank you
great.
for coming. It was last night. I thought no one's going to come, and then a couple of people tweeted me, and we were thrilled, weren't we, Catherine, with the people that came along. It was perfect.
When we saw Dredge there, we were kind of resigned to and happy to just chase Dredge around.
I thought three people. We've got a game.
He was cracking. I didn't really speak to him. He's reached out to me on Twitter, so we're following each other now.
Good.
We was following each other in the park earlier, but now we're following each other on Twitter. But,
Bruce,
it was cracking.
It was lovely to meet you, mate. Thank you very much indeed. What was nice, it was everyone. I didn't, isn't it funny how we play these things up in our own minds? Bruce was getting on with everybody.
Yeah,
I'm sure no one thought he was rude. But it was all a bunch of misfits. We were all a bunch of misfits there. We couldn't have been more different. But it was wonderful, and everyone got on, and there was no, as far as I could see, particularly when we were, sat around having ice cream, there was no one off on their own.
No.
Everyone seemed to be
no
getting
awkwardness.
on.
Everyone sort of chatting and, it was nice to see people who don't know each other chatting so warmly.
Yeah. It was absolutely lovely. So we're going to do it again, guys. We're going to do it again. Paul's on the line. Good evening, Paul.
Hi. I stand corrected with you. I admit it.
What's that?
About our conversation last night about guitars.
Yep.
Yes, you do own a Gretsch Monkey's signature guitar.
We're still going on about this, mate. Yes, I know I do.
Yes, I questioned it. Okay, I admit it now. Yes, you do.
Well, hang on a minute. How do you know I own one?
Because Google's powerful, isn't it? I just typed it on Google this afternoon. Yeah. Famous people that own a Gretsch Monkey signature guitar, and your name came up.
Right. Well, Google's quite often wrong.
Okay, Google could be wrong, but there's a picture of you with it.
There isn't. No pictures of me with it exist.
Well, it looks very much like you.
No, there is no picture of me owning a Gretsch Monkey's guitar. And do you know why?
I don't know why.
I don't own one. I don't own one. I can't play guitar that well. Why would I spend that much money on a guitar that I can't play that well?
Because you said your wife bought it for you as a present.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Kath?
He didn't.
Okay.
I said that she thought it cost significantly less than whatever the made-up price I said was that it cost me.
Okay, and apparently it says, as of today on this afternoon, on a website, famous people that own...
Do you know why it says that?
Because you were winding me up, obviously.
Yeah, because I put it on the website. I don't own one. I put it on there so that when you Googled it, it'll come up. So you've apologised for saying that I didn't have a guitar that I don't have.
So I'm apologising for nothing because I was right in the first place. Then you don't want to know.
Exactly. How small do you feel now?
You also said afterwards that you owned a Rickenbacker bass.
Yep.
Is that true?
It's true that I said that, yes.
Is it true that you own one, though?
Well, there's a question. What do you think?
I'm not sure. I'll tell you that I own a Gibson SG bass. That's pretty rare.
I couldn't care less.
Okay. I thought I was just trying... Salam alaikum, for goodness sake. I was just trying to apologise and admit I thought I'd just done some research and I was just admitting that I might have been wrong.
But what? So where are we now in terms of what guitars I do and don't own?
I don't know. You're a guitar hero to me. Yeah.
Well, thanks for calling.
What guitar do you own then?
Don't own any.
So you don't play guitar at all?
Nope.
Okay, that's fine. I
play saxophone. No, I do. I play saxophone.
Yeah.
No, I do. I actually do. I actually do play saxophone.
Okay, are you Big Spiderback then?
No, I'm Iain Lee.
What about the trumpet?
No, I don't play the trumpet. I play the bloody saxophone.
Okay. Are you Corny Pine then?
No. I play a Selma Mark 6. Do you know why a Selma Mark 6 is so famous?
I own a clarinet. It's a Boozing Hawks. They make saxophones as well.
John Coltrane used to play a Selma Mark 6. One of my all-time heroes.
Yes, just as good as Miles Davis. Yeah.
I would say significantly better.
Porgy and Bess?
They're not so bad.
No, they're not so bad. I give up here, and I'll try and be friendly, for goodness sake. Good night.
Good night, Paul. Oh, man, that was sad.
Late night conversation worth losing sleep over. Iain Lee.
On air and off the leash.
On Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
I love George Galloway. He's on tomorrow night between 7 and 10. I love the fact he's got beef with the sponsor of one of the shows on this station, and he's not holding back on Twitter. He's going for it. Yes, Dennis?
No, I'm waiting to see Iain.
You're seeing Iain now?
Oh, good. Now then, you're coming to God's country, to Manchester.
You live in Dunstable, Dennis.
Place for hide and seek.
Yes.
A boozer called the Queen's Arms.
Please, for the love of all that is holy, turn that radio off.
You're seeing Iain now. It's you.
Yes, I know it's me. I don't want to listen to him. I think he's rubbish.
Blame you, either.
There we go.
Anyway, Patercroft Station outside Manchester, known as the Top House, an ideal place for hide and seek. I spent many happy hours playing there when I was a kid. And as you're a big kid, it'll suit you fine.
Give you a bunch of fives in a minute, son.
My Auntie Linda lives there.
Oh, listen, well, I was being chased at hide and seek, and I opened the toilet door.
What?
And it was a long corridor with black and white tiles on, and my grandma was sat on the throne. She said, "Come in, darling, I'll hide you," and she spread her skirt out. She don't have a whittle anyway.
Where is this going?
And everybody that came to the door said, "No, I've not seen him, and I've not seen him." What? So I won the game.
Oh, so you hid under her while she was going to the toilet?
Oh, no, she was having a tiddle.
That is
What a charming story.
I'm cutting that off. That is the most disgusting... God. That is the most disgusting call ever. The olden days were rancid. He hid under his mum or his nan's
skirt
while she was having a wee. You dirty, dirty git.
It says everything, that, doesn't it?
Good evening, Dom.
Evening, boss. You all right?
Don't get Dom. Get Dom.
Get Dom. Pick a page between 21 and 250.
Okay, if you go in too early, you get boring childhood stuff. If you go in too late, you get, like, their career in the 90s and the 2000s. So we're going to go 132.
132. This is chapter 12.
Yep.
Okay. Right, I'll start from the first paragraph, right.
Okay, thank you. We have to get, for those who don't know, we have to guess the biography or autobiography that Dom is reading from.
Okay. Now, I'll be the first to admit I have dallied time from time over the years because opportunities have arisen.
Oh.
But I'm a man. I offer that not as mitigation but as explanation. Oh, hang on, this is going somewhere.
Yeah, it's going somewhere
Men
good.
think with their dicks more than their heads.
Yeah.
Men view casual sex in a completely different way to most women.
Right.
It just seems to be easier for men to stray because they don't have the emotional needs that women have.
Wow.
That's why men go to lap dancing clubs. That's why they have men's nights out.
I don't think that's going to hold up in a court of law, but carry on.
I love the way that trailed off, yeah.
There are women, of course, who are able to approach sex with the same dispassionate approach as men. Wow. But frankly, they're thinner on the ground.
Is it, Stop the Clock?
Stop the Clock.
Is it, Real Stringy? Peter Stringfellow?
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Actual stringy.
No.
Start the clock.
There's nothing here that's giving a clue to us to indicate who it is.
It's a shagger. It's a shagger.
Okay.
It's a male shagger.
Remember you said that, okay.
Oh.
These dalliances I had occasionally happened. Hang on, let me say that in English. These dalliances I had occasionally happened because I didn't realise.
Had occasionally.
Try and call
happened.
up, Dom. Try and call up before you've had a few drinks next time. Is all I'll say. It's the only criticism I'll give you because otherwise this is going great. Yeah.
Okay. These dalliances, as I had occasionally, happened because I didn't realise I was upsetting Melinda.
Stop the clock.
I know exactly who this is.
Who is it? Oh, no.
Is Catherine going to get 3-1?
Oh,
James Whale.
Michael James Whale.
Oh, no, dearie me.
Dirty dog.
So he's a bit of a shaggy then, is he?
Yeah, totally.
Well, he was.
According to
He
that,
was.
yeah.
He's been busted. Though.
He's had his balls chopped off. Yeah, what a dirty boy! What a dirty boy! And I'm quite happy to hammer that point home, as he was rude about my guest before when I was to come in and did the handover. So I'm happy for that.
He's on a roll at the moment. He was rude about George Galloway or something as well. I noticed on Twitter.
Well, did George Galloway go on his show tonight?
Apparently, yeah. They just got off Twitter
to talk about Pimlico plumbers.
And apparently they totally didn't let him speak or anything. They overspoke him. If that's the word.
Because George has tweeted. This is a tweet from earlier. I'm on tonight on the James Whale. No, George has tweeted. I'm on tonight on the James Whale show at 7:30 against Pimlico plumbers. Oh, he's good. This is what George Galloway has tweeted. You bend if you want to. I'm going to give it to him straight. You bend.
You bend.
Yeah. That's clever. That's clever.
Oh, good. I love George. I love James as well, by the way. But I love them both, and I disagree with lots and lots of what they say. But I think they are both. But George Galloway, I mean, he's such a captivating listen. Just the way he purrs those words.
I mean, who else throws to the ads by saying, "And now for some capitalist messages"?
Oh, and who else would have the balls to read out a text that was sent to them that goes. Oh, hang on, the computer's busted. No, hang on a minute. There's me trying to be...
Do you want me to do it?
Yeah, go on, you do it.
George, you're a funny.
That's the one. Who else would be able to do such a thing like that? That's...
George, you're a fanny.
There we go.
There we go.
George is on 7 till 10 tomorrow night before us, and also the most fragrant presenter here. I had to come in really early today, Dom, because of the game of tag stroke had stroke it. So I got in.
Yeah, I watched. Sorry, just to interrupt. I watched that on Periscope. I noticed that Catherine was gone back to being a prefect head girl days of wearing the full kit.
Yeah.
Well, I thought if you didn't, you had to go vest and pants, and frankly, no one's ready for that.
She was a bumlick.
Yeah, but the thing is,
exactly what I was thinking.
All the gear, no idea. I can't run.
By the way, I do own that Monkeys guitar, and I do own a Rickenbacker bass that is kind of similar to the one that Bruce Foxton had in the Jam.
Okay.
Just because people on Twitter are going, I knew you didn't have that guitar. I do.
Okay, your inbox is about to get battered.
Sorry? What does that mean?
The bishop.
Oh, Paul. What was I saying before Dom? So
You came in early.
You came in early, right? So quarter past 1. Okay, earliest I've ever been in. I was terrified I was going to bump into Julia Hartley-Brewer. I was terrified, and then I thought, dude, you're 44 and you're starting your own thoughts to yourself with the word dude. Grow up. Grow up, man up, and get yourself up in that room, and if she's there, you go and confront her face to face and say, Julia, how's it doing? Nice to see you. So I did, and I steeled myself, but she wasn't in. She didn't. So that's the end of...
you bravely avoided her.
That's the end of that story. Here we go. Oh.
It was almost a story.
Right, Dom, you can go away, Dom, for being rude. 03444991000, the late night alternative with me, Iain Lee, her Catherine Boyle on Talk Radio.
The radio show for people who know the best part of the day is the night.
Late night Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
0344 499 1000. Let's go. Now, how do I pronounce your name? Virushka?
Virushka.
Virushka. Virushka. What a beautiful, beautiful name, Virushka. What can I do for you?
I just wanted to say thank you for an amazing day.
Oh!
Still.
Oh, it's Virushka. I'm so sorry, my dear. This is the woman that that played the dirt, but brought two young lads with her, 7 years old, and did the dirtiest trick. Right when it was one of the games, and we ended the game. And I said, right, 30 seconds. Whoever is on this is on at the end of these 30 seconds is it in the next game. And Virushka was it, right? So she got one of the lads. She went, quick, it's the last 30 seconds. Come, take your jacket off. Come and give me. And as he took his jacket off, she tagged him and ran off. Unbelievable! This woman is an unfit mother, and I love her.
Do you know who? I love the reason for it as well, because he said, "You betrayed me, Mum." She said, survival of the fittest, son.
Oh, did you have fun today, Virushka?
Oh, I had an amazing time. I might sound like a man tonight because I lost my voice.
Mine's gone a bit because it was a lot of shouting. There was like,
I
get
can
him!
Tell you something.
Yes.
I am walking funny. I came home and I said to those kids, "I'm ordering pizzas." I think I broke my butt.
This was. Can I just say that you ordered them pizzas? It was on the same day that you forgot to buy them lunch and had to get them an emergency Mackie D's. Just saying. I'm not saying you're a bad mother. I'm just saying. These are facts.
You really have to tell everyone.
These are facts. These are actual facts. That's all I'm reporting, Virushka. That's all.
And you told us that you were really great at sports when you were younger.
Yeah.
You didn't look like it today.
Oh, ho, ho, ho. She's brave now. She's got her breath back.
Now, here's the thing.
70% of the game.
Here's the thing, Virushka. I know who your husband is now.
Yes, I remembered his name on the train.
I've got beef with your family, right? Your husband is your husband the fella that is buying an old-fashioned phone? I don't think you were here that night, Kath. He's buying an old-fashioned phone just so he can, halfway through a phone call, he can have a go at me and slam the phone down on me. Is that him?
Yes.
Unbelievable. This family is tainted. I mean, really, they are rotten to the core.
This explains a lot.
Rotten. So he keeps tweeting me going, "I've got that phone, Lee. You're gonna get hung up on good and proper."
Oh my God, he's mad about you. You see, he is real, and you thought it there lived in my head.
How were the boys? Were they shattered?
Shattered?
Yeah, tired. I don't mean actually. I don't mean literally shattered.
Say, this is the evening.
Oh really?
You don't love me. I hate you. I can't sleep.
Oh God! Oh no!
No, I don't like it. Oh, my special things! Don't touch my special things.
Hang on, what's that?
So I just said, get in the bath, and once you've had a bath, you'll feel better.
Yep.
And he did.
Yeah, of course.
And then I took his little friend home.
Yeah.
And he did exactly the same. He threw his toys out.
Good.
around the
Good.
place.
Good. I had a word with him. What you didn't notice, Virushka, was I had a word with him in private, and I said, right, listen, your mum is taking the mickey out of you. You've got to start with throwing your weight around, sunshine. Otherwise, she's going to walk on you for the rest of your life. And it looks like he's listened to Uncle Ian's advice. Can I just say, your little boy...
Oh, is this why we got the nobody respects me in this house?
Oh, it's a 7-year-old! Wow!
That's happened early.
Wow! Oh, you're screwed, man. Those teenage years are going to be awful. He gave me, to one of the highlights for me... Well, first he came up to me and said, I'm a big fan of yours. But one of the highlights was when he left, he came and gave me a really big hug at the train station. I was so moved by that, Virushka. All joking aside, when he gave me that hug, that melted my heart. It was absolutely wonderful. He's a good boy.
You have his father to thank for that.
Well, listen, thank you so much for coming. We're going to play it out tomorrow.
And we'll see you at the next tag.
Beautiful.
Or hide and seek. Fingers crossed.
I'd suggest you get a little bit more training in
We
Virushka.
decided haunted house.
Yeah, we want to play hide and seek in a haunted house. Imagine that. Wouldn't that be great?
At night.
Virushka, nice to talk to you. Ta-ta.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Wish they were a nice family, weren't they?
She was hilarious.
She was nuts. Terrible mother. Terrible mother. But
I've been known to press the dominoes button.
0344. Thank you, Virushka. 0344. Yeah, her husband is. He's bought a proper phone so that he can slam the phone down on me. That's nuts, isn't it? That is nuts. He's not going to win. Not going to let him win. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. I don't like it when they. We're doing the papers because we're told we have to. But by the way, we're coming from a very special house tomorrow in Manchester, tomorrow night.
Yeah.
You'll hear the audio of the hide and seek. And Saturday, we've still got a handful of tickets left for the performance of the Rabbit Hole at 1 o'clock in Salford at the King's Arms, ticketsource.co.uk/Iain-Lee. Yes, that's happening. What was I going to talk about? Oh, yeah, this. I like the sound of this.
Go on.
Kit Kat. They've done a special Kit Kat. Flavoured with wasabi.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Dirty devils.
Yeah.
No.
I could eat that. I love wasabi.
With chocolate?
Yeah, it was white chocolate.
Dirty.
Have a break with tradition. It says here, Kit burns my mouth. Is that... What's the pun? It burns my mouth. Is that the pun?
Wow.
Kit burns my mouth?
That's a stretch.
I would say Kit Kat got the cream. Have a break with... That's why I was fired from headline writing.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Have a break with tradition. Have a Kit Kat flavoured with red hot wasabi. See if you can order this online. Try Amazon. Japan loves quirky flavours so much... Nestle is building a factory there to cope with demand. Oh, here we go. Hello? Purple potato and strawberry cheesecake. Will be added to the 300 wacky varieties created for the Japanese market so far. A spokesman for Nestle Japan said, "We take pride in our unique flavours." In fact, yeah, they've got... Google the Japanese Kit Kat flavours. Like it says there are 300. I remember when we were there were shed loads. Have you found it?
Yeah.
Can you order it?
Yeah, Kit Kat, loose set of 2.
Yeah.
Tamariya wasabi.
Yeah.
£2.50.
Yeah, fine. What's that on Amazon?
No. Tofu cute.
Yeah?
Kawaii culture and snacks from Japan and East Asia, UK-based worldwide delivery.
Go and check what other... Well, hang on a minute. They should send us a free sample. We're on the radio.
Wow.
See what other flavours they got, because they do loads of... I remember this now, actually, when we were there were shed loads of... Go on.
Hokkaido melon.
Uji
matcha. Easter custard. I like the idea of that.
Easter custard?
Uh-huh. Delicious mini Japanese Kit Kats with Easter custard pudding flavours.
Oh, good. I nearly swore then. Easter custard Kit Kat. I tell you what, Kath, if you order it, I'll give you the money.
No,
I'll give you the money. I'm in for a tenner. Click yes. Click yes.
Kit Kat loose set to Ichigo strawberry. Sake.
No. God.
Matcha green tea.
Oh no.
Red bean sandwich.
Oy.
Sakura and soybean. Strawberry cheesecake. Bakeable sweet potato.
Yes.
Oh, sold out.
Oh!
Shinshu red apple.
Oh.
Rum and raisin.
No.
Purple sweet potato.
Yes. What's a purple sweet... What is a... Well, it's a sweet potato that's purple. That's a stupid question. I mean, really, yeah.
And... Kumamon green tea. Itoi kuyamon hojicha. No idea.
Get it.
Roasted tea, that is.
No, don't get that. That'd be horrible.
Hot ginger tea.
No.
Strawberry. Matcha. Oh, hang on. Page 2.
Oh! Hey, remember that show we did one night where we just read out loads of Japanese Kit Kats, then ordered a tenner's worth?
Citrus Golden Blend is sold out. Right, okay. So far, you can have one more. What's it going to be?
What's it going to be? What's it going to be?
Melon, strawberry, sake, green tea,
We've had
red
these.
bean. No,
we've had that. We've had that.
I haven't ordered red bean.
No, you've mentioned it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Strawberry cheesecake.
No.
Got wasabi already. Sweet potato got.
Yeah.
Sweet raspberry.
No.
Red apple.
No.
Rum and raisin.
No. Is that it?
Green tea.
Go on, you choose one then. What's it going to be?
I'm actually quite hungry.
Yeah, I know. I could murder a Japanese Kit Kat right now.
Can't remember what we've already ordered. All right, I'm on this. I'll
Okay, we're
surprise.
on that. We're on that. That's happening.
Oh.
The front page of the Star is horrific. I'm going to be honest. It is absolutely flipping horrific. Giant spider terrifies family in home. Guess how big this spider is?
Like a hand.
Stalked by beast bigger than a dinner plate. A spider bigger than a dinner plate. I just had a shiver, an involuntary shiver down my spine, a shudder, I believe. Oh, I had another one, because it was horrible. A monster spider, bigger than a dinner plate, trapped a couple inside their home. Freaked out Lauren Ansell, who was left in shock, said, "It was massive and mean." Full story, page 18. This is outrageous. I know I'm getting better with spiders these days, but I would not fancy that. Imagine the juice that will come out of that when you squash it against the wall with a book.
If not eggs.
It's like those, you seen those giant hedgehogs now? There's a disease that hedgehogs get where they blow up like a balloon, like massive. There's a picture in one of the papers again.
Oh, gassy.
They blow up like a massive balloon, and I think this. I didn't read the story. I think this is how they do it. They get a protractor, for the circle, and they just prick it, and it. And then when it gets to normal size, they have to put a plaster over it quickly enough to stop the air getting out.
Is that not a balloon?
That might be a balloon, actually, but they swell up to the size of balloons.
I saw something like that in, have you ever seen Far From the Madding Crowd with Julie Christie in it?
Of course not! What do you think I am,
there's a brilliant... It's brilliant, that's a brilliant
It
film.
sounds rubbish!
Oh, no, it's amazing.
Who is that, Hardy?
Yes.
Yeah, boring.
Oh, no.
Thomas Hardy and Jane Austen, jog on.
Oh, no, totally different.
No.
Thomas Hardy's all gloom and doom, you'd love it.
Yeah, they're both... I've read Thomas Hardy, Return of the Native. It's rubbish.
No.
Boring.
No.
Awful.
No, I don't recognise that.
Well, you recognise it.
Anyway, there's a scene in the film, the 60s film, where all the sheep are inflating like that, and he comes along, what's he called?
Look at that.
And sticks... Yes, and he punches them all.
He has to insert his penis into them.
No! He puts like a...
It's like when you inflate a tyre, he has to break the seal with his pump.
No, there was none of that. I mean, God, why'd you have
Exactly, that's why it was boring. That's why who'd want to watch something that didn't have that in? Huh?
What?
A monster spider... Oh!
You're right.
I can't stop. I've got the shudders. Can you read the story? Because I can't read it. It's so horrific. Look at that picture of it. Look at the picture of it.
Listen, if you're going to be gipping in the corners, it's going to be very off-putting.
Go on.
A monster spider bigger than a dinner plate trapped a couple inside their home.
Oh, yeah.
He trapped them in there. You're not leaving. It lunged at Lauren Ansell and her partner every time they tried to go through the patio doors.
Oh.
Then the huntsman spider, whose bite can make people vomit and give them heart palpitations.
Oh, that sounds quite good, actually. It reminds me of the 90s.
Glared threateningly at the couple with his beady eyes. Oh, come on. Lauren said her partner had been outside cooking on a barbecue when she spotted the spider.
Is it in this country? Hello?
No.
No? Oh, well, then why is it on the front page of the Star?
Australia.
Oh, well, hang on a minute.
Where they have loads of spiders.
What? Why is that on the front page of The Star, a British newspaper?
I mean...
Jeez.
It makes this paragraph make absolute perfect sense. Lauren said her partner had been outside cooking on a barbecue. Of course he had. When she spotted the spider. She added, "We didn't want to kill it, but it didn't like us for trying to move it along. My boyfriend tried to squish it in the door, but the spider was smart." The door...
Smart spiders,
The door only claimed 2 of its legs, so it dropped down and limped off into the garden.
Oh, God, they wounded it! That spider's going to be furious!
It's gone into the garden to plot its revenge. Lauren of Mount Coolum, Queensland, Australia, was glad they'd not killed the spider. She said it's still alive and happy. She's nicknamed it Aragog after the bloodthirsty spider who rules the Forbidden Forest in J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter books. Her pals were shocked when she posted snaps on Facebook. Lauren believes Aragog is now lurking somewhere out of sight in the darkness of the back garden.
It's weaving new legs out of web and probably guns. It's going to trap... They're going to wake up one day in their bed. They won't be able to move. They'll be covered in spider web.
Horrible. She said, "It's in the garden. We haven't seen it since. It's massive and it was mean, but it's alive and we didn't want to kill it." She joked that her new pet had made a hideout for itself in the quote-unquote Forbidden Forest.
God, this is why I'll never ever go to Australia again.
Adult huntsman spiders do not build webs but forage for food and use venom to stun their prey.
Spiders that forage?
Uh-huh.
Jeez!
They're known to bite if provoked. Especially men with beards who are about 6 foot.
Right, you're a dick. Give me that paper. You're a dick. I don't get you. I don't even get what that was. That wasn't funny. That wasn't anything. Dear listener, another hour to go. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. We are looking for a stately home, a school, an office, somewhere where some adults can play a good game of hide and seek. Let me ask you, do you know anywhere that fits that description?
Talk Radio.
I'm confused. How is it midnight? Where did that hour go? The first one, I got it. Yeah, it went quick. The second hour, we just started talking rubbish. Another hour to go, dear listener. I tell you what, I will explain the show, because we're getting new listeners, he said, hopefully. I'll explain what you can call in about after the news. Thank you.
Late night, Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me down the road. It's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on down this road that never seems to end. When new adventure lies just around the bend. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's old style. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, the whole world is my home. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's old style. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. There's a world that's waiting to unfold, a brand new tale no one has ever told. We've journeyed far, but you know it won't be long. We're almost there and we paid our fare with a hobo song. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's hobo style. Maybe tomorrow I'll find what I call home. Until tomorrow, you know I'm free.
There we go. So, This is the Late Night Alternative with me, Iain Lee, on Talk Radio. The way this show works is if you're sat there... well, this is the way it doesn't work. If you're sat there waiting for the question of the hour, the big question of the hour, there isn't one. We just sit here, and sometimes Kath is in the studio with me, my producer, and sometimes she's not. And I chat about my day. I chat about a few things that I've spotted in the papers that aren't the usual stories. And you are welcome to call in and join in with the chat that I'm having. Or if you do think that there is a story or something you want to bring to the table, light or heavy, you're more than welcome to. Pretty much everyone gets on. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. 0344 499 1000. It'll be free for most of you. Pennies for those that it's not free for. And here's the thing, guys. We call you back. You'll speak to Sam, who will take your name and your number, and we'll call you back. And if you normally get turned away from other radio shows or other radio stations for whatever reason, right? Maybe it's because you have a stammer or you have Parkinson's or you slur or maybe because, and I'm going to be honest, you're nuts. You will get on this show. I guarantee it. You will get on this show. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. Let's go to Freddie. Hey, Freddie.
Hey.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi. I'm sorry I didn't make it today.
Shame on you. Shame on you.
I've let you down.
You've not just let me down, you've let your family down, Freddie. You let your boy down because he was the ultimate winner of the day, even though we think he cheated a bit. That's by the by. That is by the by. Your son may have won, but he was also hiding a bit, and I'm not going to make a big thing out of it. I know Kath is more annoyed with it than I am. I'm just disappointed. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, we're in the day for everyone. But you not turning up is the least of your worries.
Well, I didn't get that side of the story. I just thought that he posted because he was very proud to be the winner.
Well, Kath, you explain the beef with the last game of tag. Was All Man Heat, where I was on. Really, it should have been that kid that was on. But I was generous, so I was it. And we ended up chasing one person that was Freddie's son. And Kath, you explained why you were.
Well, I didn't. It got very frenetic. Obviously, you know, the more and more people,
for most people
that were got. And I ran straight into. In fact, it was your daughter that got me out. That's not part of my. Yeah, that's. Possibly part of my beef. So I ran towards her thinking she was an ally, and she got me.
Yeah.
And then we all kind of looked around and said, "Who's still in? Who's still in?" And then in the distance, there was a tiny...
Way over in the distance.
Tiny fuzzy sort of dot in the trees.
Yeah.
Little face. Hello, I'm still in. And it took a while for the sound to reach us because it was such a long way away. And it was your boy.
Fraser.
Yes. So, 10 minutes later, once we got to him, because he was such a long way away, we got him.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm glad he's dining out on it.
I did nearly, Freddie. I was so tempted to have a pile on at the end, but you know, some of us.
He had glasses on.
Well, no, not on him. Not on him. I was going to go at the bottom. But let's be honest. You know, none of us were as slim as we once were. You know, I thought maybe a pylon would no one. There had been no serious injuries up to that point,
no.
And
we didn't get insurance. Did we?
No. I did tell the bosses we were doing it because they would have nixed it. But we so the pylon didn't happen. But it was a fun, old, stupid, silly, dumb afternoon, and it was thoroughly enjoyable.
Well, it sounds like they had a great time. As soon as I finished work, I phoned Lana up, and she was telling me all about it.
Did they have fun? It was nice to see them down there.
Yeah, they really did. Thank you. Yes,
Pleasure.
I'll try and make the next one.
Well, the next one, yeah, we'll do it on a Sunday. I think we'll do it on a Sunday afternoon. Probably, I'm going to say probably in August, but then I'm realising August is next week. So we'll see. It'd be nice to do one in the summer holidays, probably on a Sunday.
Okay, I hope to see you then.
Nice one, friend.
I'll see you in 21st September.
Lovely. See you then, Freddie. Take care.
Thanks
a lot. Bye-bye.
Thanks for getting them on the Jubilee line.
It was. We did. They followed us, stalkers. Thank you, Freddie. Send my love to them. It was nice to see them.
Okay.
Cheers.
Okay.
Bye. And it was nice. It was.
I think she thinks we meant it about Frasier. He just played it well.
Yeah, he did. He kept
He had
his
technique.
It was nice mixture of ages from a 5-year-old up to you. You were probably the eldest there, Kath. You're 50 next week.
What are you talking about?
What? So
it's not next week anyway. It's the week after.
What is this? Why has Mark sent me this picture? Here's me. Mark has sent me a very strange picture on Twitter. My internet's going a little.
It's not his privates again, is it?
No. Oh God, no. Here's me and the neighbour's car in my backyard last week. I don't own it. He just left his handbrake off.
Is it crashed into his wall?
Yeah, it's in his garden.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever left the handbrake off? I did it the other day when I was with the boys, and I got out in the car, started running, went, oh blimey! But I've been in a petrol station, and the bloke's gone, mate, is that your car? What? Oh, sugar! And it's been
rolling?
Yeah, it's been rolling. Not massive speed. I was in a petrol station once, just off the North Circular, on quite a busy road, and I saw a car. I was in the shop, and I saw a car roll down a slope and just straight out into the road. And I don't think anyone hit it. No, a car did hit it actually. First one dodged it, and the next one just rolled into a road. It is a great sight to see, though. A car driving itself,
like Herbie.
Oh, it's
suicidal Herbie.
It is absolutely wonderful to see more car. Well, it's the future. It is the future.
I like seeing that. I also like seeing unexpected car passengers.
Yep.
Like,
oh, go on! I've just reminded of something me and the boys saw.
Two I've done. Both of them when I was one with the kids, one on the way to a funeral.
Yeah.
So obviously my mind was on other things.
Yeah.
Once with the kids, we went to Toys R Us and I bought a load of that art paper, different colours and that.
Yeah.
Whacked it on the roof, got the kids into the car, drove off.
Yeah.
Art paper still on the roof.
Uh-oh.
It was still on the roof.
Beautiful.
When I remembered and stopped.
Yeah.
People were flashing me. That thing of, what?
Yeah.
What? Oh, hang on a minute. And then a couple of weeks ago, I had to go to a funeral. We were running late.
Yes.
So my husband got me a coffee and put it in one of those takeout cups.
Yeah.
I put it on the roof while I got in.
Oh, yeah, I love it. Someone driving off.
Yeah. So I drove off and there was like a big bang and stuff all over my windscreen. I thought, God, that was a big bird.
Yeah.
It was like a big bird poo. And then I realised what it was, my coffee.
We saw such a funny thing, and I had the boys in the car. It was on the M25, and I had to drive like a bit of a maniac so that they could see it, because I had to catch up. It was guy driving a car. In the passenger seat, it's a big black Labrador. But he's wearing sunglasses.
What?
He had sunnies on, and he was just sat there on the front seat with these sunnies on, looking out the window, looking at the front, I had these sunnies on, and me and the boys were in hysterics.
That's wonderful.
It was so funny.
Dogs in cars are one of those things that always makes me smile.
Yeah.
I don't have a dog, but I do love a dog with his head out the window.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something that is joyous about that passes from car to car, I think.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
0344 499 1000. Can you go and help young Sam, because I can see he's having trouble calling someone back.
All right.
And I want to speak to Pete. I want to speak to this Pete to find out what the hell he's called him for tonight. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. This is the Late Night Alternative with me, Iain Lee.
Late Night, Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
0344 499 1000. I think we got hold of Sneaky Pete. Good evening, Pete.
Good evening, Lee. Iain Lee, even. Sorry.
Good evening. Yes, correct. You will address me by my full name.
I've just done a gig down in the depths of Wiltshire, and I've just come home to my hometown. I'm in the big Tesco's. I'm wondering which kind of packet of crisps to eat for my comedian's dinner.
For your what dinner? Medium dinner?
No, comedian's dinner.
Comedian's dinner.
When you're...
Monster Munch.
Monster Munch. Yeah, there's roast beef Monster Munch right in front of me.
No. Whoa. Put those down, you dirty git. Not roast beef.
Yeah.
You want onion.
Pickled onion.
Pickled onion Monster Munch.
Pickled onion. That's a bit like battery acid on the tongue.
Oh, mate.
It's going in.
It's a phrase I don't often say, but I mean it. Man up! Man up, snowflake!
That's in the basket.
Man up, Snowflake! For goodness sakes, you will eat those pickled onion Monster Munch, and you better tweet me a picture of you eating them to prove that you bought them, because this could just be like when I phoned up that chat line, and I don't think that woman was necessarily just at that moment wearing nothing but a thong.
No.
I don't think that the odds of that happening are very slim.
She had track slacks on.
Of course she did. You could hear Coronation Street on in the background. So I want a picture of that, Pete.
Yes, that's gone in the basket along with some banana-flavoured Soaring malt loaf.
Can we get I know that James is sponsored by Pimlico Plumbers. Can we get the show sponsored by Serene? Can we?
Only if you say it properly.
Serene.
Not Serene.
Well, how would you...
Doreen.
All right, I'm going to...
Because they rhyme in with Doreen.
Yeah, Doreen.
No, not Doreen.
How do you say Doritos? Doritos? No, you say Doritos. Doreen.
You can...
Serene.
You get Doreen and Doritos, you get Doreen.
Stay out of this, Pete, because
I don't know how that tastes.
Stay out of this.
It's not worth it, Pete.
Serene, can we get it sponsored? Can we get the show sponsored
Doreen.
by... well, that... Saw Ian? What was that?
Well, that brings us back to your little problem this morning.
Oh, I did have a sweaty arse crack. It was agony. I ran it off. But it sounds like, Pete, you've got a very, very healthy basket there.
And a glamorous life.
You live in the dream.
No. It's been all right.
What liquid are you going to have to wash that all down with?
I haven't made a choice on that either, actually.
Oh, what's it going to be? They got on bongo.
Oh no, no. You just get a pint of milk.
Oh, bleh.
I love a pint of milk.
Milk on its own.
Sorry?
Milk on its own. That's just.
Yeah, he's a pervert.
What do you mean? This is what I do when I go home. I open the fridge and I just glug down that milk. Glug it down, baby.
I'm just going to go with some orange juice.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Libtard.
I'm working the man up. But,
you're a cuck. You're a snowflake cuck. That's what you are, Peter. How did the gig go? Was it good?
It's brilliant. It's a middle-class restaurant, and I was up there dressed as a barmaid and making the whole place laugh, really.
Oh, sexy.
A nice little gig, run by Andrew Wright in Salisbury, Wiltshire. Give him a plug. And I've got 3 more gigs next week.
Look at you.
There is literally a fight kicking off in Tesco's right now.
Oh, is it? Go on, what about... Let's listen. Go get as close as you dare.
And we want commentary.
Go on, go on, I can hear it.
In the aisle next to me, there's a big fight kicking off.
Be quiet, let's listen.
Is it a man and a woman?
I want to hear.
There could be some naughty words being said.
Don't matter. I'll worry about that.
Yeah. Oh, they've just been thrown out of the place. So I've gone off to the car park.
Real life.
Was it a mixed pair or was it 2 fellas?
Just some teenagers, really.
Oh, well, that's a little bit of excitement on a Thursday evening.
Yeah, a little bit of drama.
Pete, thank you for that, mate. Enjoy your Monster Munch. I want a picture, please.
Definitely, I'll tweet that.
Cheers, my dears.
Okay,
Ta-ta.
cheers.
Ta-ta. Always happy to help. Always happy to help with late-night food choices,
Although,
of course.
I mean, you've talked about Kit Kats, Monster Munch. I'm starving again.
Yeah, well, that diet's got kicked out of the window because we went for a massive Chinese after the
I know,
game.
but I'm not going to have anything now.
Oh, I'm going to have something on the way home. I've broken the seal.
Oh.
Let's go to Lana, whose brother's a cheat. Good evening, Lana.
Hello, Ian.
How you doing?
I'm all right, thanks. How are you?
My calves really hurt. My calf muscles really hurt. If I'm completely honest,
it's hard playing it.
I'm not. How are you feeling? You're young. So I'm guessing you're probably smoking a doobie and drinking a bottle of hooch right now, aren't you?
Oh, you wish.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry to disappoint.
You do sound. She sounds a bit sleepy, doesn't she?
She does. I'm not surprised. It's been a busy day. Lots of fresh air.
Little baby sleepy.
I'm more cold.
Why? What's that got to do with me?
I don't know. It's probably why I'm tired. I'm cold.
I don't think cold and tiredness necessarily goes in.
Unless it's hypothermia, then.
I think it's heat. Heat makes me tired. Cold, this is why I like the studio cold, because it keeps me alert. And I learnt that trick. David Letterman would always have this. If you watch the David Letterman show, right, you look at the audience. Loads of them will be wearing like coats and jackets because he keeps the studio really, really cold in there, so that everyone is awake and alert and focused. It's a great little trick.
When I used to feed the snakes in the science lab...
Sorry?
You had to freeze them a little bit first, like turn the lights off for a good 15 minutes so that they would slow down.
Wowzers. Have you ever attempted... Could you put a fist in a snake? And so
whose fist?
Your fist. Could you get your fist and put it in a snake, right? One that's not got teeth.
Yeah.
So you could then
make... a bit cruel, man.
You could then make shapes inside the snake, right?
You could get so many fingers.
It'd be funny to flick the fees through a snake. But then you'd also feel its stomach trying to digest your hand. And I wonder if you kept your hand in a snake for long enough, would you just pull out a skeleton arm? Like Pirates of the Caribbean, when they see them in the moonlight, the skeletons.
What a charming hypothesis.
Well, I just wonder, can we get an expert on the line? Find a snake expert, please.
About fisting a snake. Seriously.
Jesus.
Well, you said it.
Well, Peter's shown us a picture of the Monster Munch. I don't see him eating it, though. That's the thing. He could just be holding them up in a shop. Eat them, boy. Anything else, Lana?
Yeah. I tweeted you yesterday saying what you thought on my blue hair, and you didn't reply.
What I thought. Oh, that was your blue hair.
Yeah.
I said I tweeted I liked it.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh, it didn't come up.
Well, I'm sure I tweeted I liked it. If I didn't, I certainly thought about.
You did tweet you liked it.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. So not only is your brother a cheat and a liar, so is his sister. So is his sister.
It must run in the family.
No, your mum is decent. Your mum's a decent, hard-working, honest folk. But her children have broken Britain. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So, it turns out I know how to work Twitter better than you. Thank you, Lana!
Thank you.
There we go.
I bet she's muted you.
Here's what I was thinking. I think most of my followers have muted. Turns out loads of my followers are fake, because you can do a little thing where you can see how many are real and how many are fake.
How?
Yeah. There's a website. I don't know how accurate it is, but I think about 32,000 of mine are real. The rest are fake.
Oh.
I think. But I also think that most people have muted me because I go on about being miserable and wanting to jump off a bridge and hang myself.
They just unfollow you, surely.
Well, maybe they know that a huge exodus, a Twitter exodus, could just be the thing that pushes me over the edge. So they're being kind by muting me.
If they were kind, they would just let you wang on, wouldn't they?
Yeah, well, maybe.
Not that you do wang on.
No, well, I don't know, I do. I wang on. I totally wang on. And I'm fine with wanging on. Speaking of wanging on.
Yep.
This is an interesting... 0344 499 1000. This is... It's an interesting thing. I couldn't find a bigger version of this. It only gets a paragraph, like a little tiny little thing in the mirror, a couple of little tiny things in the sun. I want to read the full thing. 40% of people say gay sex is unnatural. 4 in 10, and it doesn't...
40% of people, asked?
Well, don't be...
Okay, so who were they asking?
Homophobes and podcasters. 4 in 10... Well, hang on a second. It's the 50th anniversary of it being partially decriminalised.
Right.
The love that dare not speak its name. 4 in 10 people believe gay sex is unnatural 50 years after homosexuality was decriminalised, says a poll. The survey for Pink News also found 36% are against gay people becoming parents. It took me a while to get my head around it. Do you remember? I had a little bit of prejudice, because rationally I couldn't see any problem with it, but there was just something in me. But I'm cool with it now, man. If I'm cool with it, you should be cool with it. But initially, it was prejudice, and prejudice is an irrational hatred or dislike that is not based on fact. And I had this weird prejudice, and I talked about it on a show, on a radio show once. Tory and Brexit voters were the most anti-gay, but 78% of 18 to 24-year-olds said gay sex was natural. Well done, young people.
How many? At what percent?
78.
Oh.
Pink News chief executive Benjamin Cohen called the poll depressing, but he added, "It is gratifying, though, that for younger people, gay relations..." Can we get him on tomorrow? Because I tried to find... it's Benjamin Cohen from Pink News. I tried to find a bigger version of this to see if it gave a breakdown of people that they asked and how many they are, how big the survey was, because quite often these surveys it's like 1,200 people, and so I'd like to know that, because I 40% say gay sex is unnatural. No, I can believe that, actually, because my mum probably does.
There's an age group, isn't there?
Yeah, my mum probably does. And there are a significant number of people in their 60s and upwards that... Probably a lot of people in their 60s and 70s don't think it's unnatural, but I'm saying that, my mum. I don't actually know. I've not asked her about anal sex.
My gran probably would not like to talk about anyone doing it, but almost certainly she would think two fellas. Oh no, yeah. But because she's 94.
Yeah. It hadn't been invented then, had it?
Well, I think that generation did invent quite a lot of it, actually.
Yeah, let's see if we can get them on, because that'd be quite interesting. I mean,
what's the name of the survey?
Pink News.
Yeah.
And it's Benjamin Cohen. It doesn't. The survey doesn't have a title in this short little write-up. And of course there'll be a lot of religious people that, as we know, to our cost, Christians and Muslims and Jews. And did you hear that horrible story? Some really horrible stories at the moment. 2 women had been abused as teenagers by... they were members of Jehovah's Witness. Did you hear this story?
No.
So the Jehovah's Witness were abused by an elder in the Jehovah's Witness thing years ago, and they're now grown women. And I think he went to court and he was found guilty. I think he went to prison. He may have had a suspended sentence. I don't know. I think he went to prison, but not for a massively long time. So the Jehovah's Witnesses... the elders, I think it was in Manchester. I'm probably getting all these facts wrong. I heard it on Radio 4 the other day. They considered this guy for their version of excommunication, and I can't think what the phrase is. It is something like deselection or something. And to see whether this guy should be excommunicated, let me say, even though it's a Catholic thing, they held like a sort of court, even though he'd been found guilty in the court of law. They held a court where it was all men and these 2 women, and the bloke was allowed to question them.
What?
Honestly, and here's the thing, and I don't know who did it. Someone recorded it, right? And they were playing bits of this on Radio 4. And this guy... Oh, it was awful listening. I don't know why this has popped into my head. This guy was asking the most... He was basically denying it. Even though he'd been found guilty in a court of law, he was denying it. And he was saying to these women, why would I do that? What did I do?
God.
Tell me what I did to you.
But the thing is, so much of it is about power, and this is like giving him that again.
Yeah. Exactly. It was horrific.
And shaming them in front of all these people. Oh,
it was, honestly, I was sat there listening to it. I couldn't believe it. And I think it's the Charities Commission have ruled that, I don't quite know what powers the Charities Commission have and why it was them. I'm sure it was them. Because I remember at the time thinking, that's weird. But the Charities Commission ruled that these elders in the Jehovah's Witness Kingdom Hall in, I think it was Manchester, were bang out of order, basically, for doing this. And if the women... First of all, the women didn't know he was going to be there until he rocked up and started asking them questions.
God, can you imagine?
And secondly, they wouldn't, if they had refused, then it would have been taken as admission that they'd been lying before. Isn't that insane? How horrific. One of the girls brought her mum, and she wasn't allowed in until they kicked up a stink, and the mum was allowed in, but she wasn't allowed to say anything. Oh, it was the most horrific story. I don't know, I'm bringing it in and bringing the show on a downer. But it was just the most horrific thing.
To happen in 2017, that's extraordinary.
It's from that survey. That was of course joining the dots that the people in 2017 can still actually be living in prehistoric times when it comes to things like that. And I do think that I don't know anything about the Jehovah's Witnesses. I know we have a couple of Jehovah's Witnesses that call in. I don't know anything about Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't know anything about Hasidic Jews. I don't know that much about Sikhs, to be honest. And there are huge, and I could go and read books, I suppose. There are huge gaps in my knowledge about large groups that live in this country. I went to school with a load of Sikhs. I don't really know a lot about them. I know that they're supposed to have a dagger on their thigh, and they're kind of quite peaceful. But that's all I know about the Sikhs.
Well, yeah, you say they're kind of quite peaceful, but the tradition is a warrior tradition.
Yeah. There we go. He's eating his Monster Munch. That's good. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. If you want to give us a call, it's the last 25 minutes or so of the Late Night Alternative with me, Iain Lee, on Talk Radio.
Late night conversation worth losing sleep over. Iain Lee.
On air and off the leash.
On Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. If you want to give us a call, you're more than welcome to. Where shall we go? Where shall we go? Where shall we go, dear listener? I'm quite tired all of a sudden. Well, not all of a sudden. Here comes a yawn. Let me enjoy this. Oh, there is some... Why is it... There are so many pleasures the body can give us, and we always opt for the sexual ones, but a good yawn, like a really good yawn, and let's be honest, a good sneeze... And I mean like a sharp sneeze. Do you know what I mean by that? Where it's big and it's all encompassing. A good sharp sneeze is better than any orgasm you've ever had. I never forget. Do you remember on Brookside? I'm going back some time now, and boy, I'm tired because we're going off on tangents. And there was that lady who then went on to star in a BBC One series, but she was going out with the guy who used to present the Storybox, Music Box, kids' TV show, and he became a heroin addict. And he had a short, fat, dumpy friend who also supplied heroin, and he was really creepy. And he said to this woman, heroin. It's better than all the sex you've ever had. And I never understood that line until I had a really, really good sneeze. There's only about 6 of you who are going to get that reference. If my sister is still listening, she'll get the reference. But a really good sneeze is better than any of the mucky stuff I've ever done. The mucky stuff, really. Such a faff, isn't it? I mean, jeez. It really is just... such a faff. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. Hang on a minute. What's this on the front? This is why he's got beef with Pimlico plumbers. I didn't realise. Right, here we go. He is a knob. Front page of the Daily Mail. Here we go. The front page of the Daily Mail. Queue here for the gravy train. Furious bosses, Charlie Mullins, warn of a tide of claims as Supreme Court makes it much easier to go to an employment tribunal. This is a brilliant, brilliant story that we should be celebrating, right? In 2011 or 2013, 2013, I think, If you wanted to take your boss to court for unfair dismissal, you got sacked unfairly, or you were made to leave, or constructive dismissal where they make you leave. Up until then, you could do it, and you'd get it would be free. It wouldn't cost you anything. Then in about 2013, the coalition introduced this thing where you had to pay. And the first cost could be as much as, like, I think it was about 380 quid, which, when you've just been sacked from probably quite a low-paid job, that's a shed load of money to suddenly have to find. And the reason for it was good, but it was flawed. The reason was it would stop people, they thought it would stop people making these spurious claims to take their bosses to court, right? But it didn't. Anyway, it's been found out that this was illegal, so the government have got to refund about 40 million quid. Judges were last night accused of encouraging spurious litigation by ripping up employment tribunal reforms. This is the best thing that could ever have happened for all of those poor souls that get shafted by bosses that just want to see them out on their ear, because they know that the odds are they won't, up until yesterday when this decision was made, that they probably wouldn't get taken to a tribunal. The Supreme Court said ministers had acted unlawfully. The Supreme Court. So it's the Supreme Court. Remember, we wanted control of our laws? This is the Supreme Court is British, right? So it's British laws at the top, the Supremes. Said ministers had acted unlawfully in bringing fees of up to 1,200 quid to make a claim. 7 judges ruled unanimously in favour of the union Unison, which said the charges discriminated against women and the poorly paid. All right? So, to me, that sounds absolutely brilliant. That unanimously, the Supreme Court, the British courts have said, guys, you're discriminating against women and poorly paid people. You cannot impose this charge. The court said the fees were inconsistent with access to justice and had resulted in big fall in claims. But Charlie Mullins, Wales mate, we've seen his car. Flipping it. That car's probably more expensive than my house. But Charlie Mullins, who founded Pimlico Plumbers in London, said, "This is a charter for litigants which will fuel Britain's compensation culture. I have sympathy with people with genuine claims, but a lot of people make false allegations and try it on. This ruling will only encourage those who abuse the system to come back into the market." Get a grip, mate. Why don't you go and sit in your posh car and count your money, dude? Because there are people that couldn't even afford to fill up the petrol tank in your car. Smaller companies are worried they will now have to settle cases they would win because they cannot afford the time and expense of fighting them. God, this is the most... How can anyone, apart from, money-grabbing bosses, think that this is a bad decision? The Institute of Directors, which represents 30,000 small and medium-sized businesses, predicted the decision would open the door to a spike in malicious or vexatious claims. Here's the thing, though, because I was listening to this on Radio 4. When this law was introduced, there was not a decrease in the number of spiteful or vexatious claims. It had no effect on it. So there will be chances. Of course, there'll be chances who go in and try and swing the lead a bit. But it's mainly people who've been shafted by their bosses. Seamus Nevin, its employment and skills chief, said businesses across the country will be extremely alarmed by today's judgment. Flipping heck, so what? Before fees, individuals faced no risk or barriers in bringing claims that were not merited. Even the weakest or most vexatious cases meant sizable legal expense and wasted valuable management time for companies. It's been proven that that's like a tiny, tiny minority of cases. Most of these people that take their bosses to court, it's justified. They're not doing it to take the mickey. The court summary said claimants on low to middle incomes could not afford the fees without sacrificing ordinary and reasonable expenditure for substantial periods of time. The judges, headed by the court's president, Lord Neuberger, decided that the fees indirectly penalised women because they were more likely to bring discrimination cases against their employers. The government will have to refund around £32 million to thousands of people charged for taking claims to tribunal since July 2013. ranging between 390 and 1,200 quid. The fees were introduced in 2013 by Chris Grayling. I don't understand. Emma Burrows, head of the employment department at Trowers and Hamlin, said the increase in claims will put further pressure on tribunals already under strain following funding cuts. Jesus Christ. But TUC... I'm laughing because this is so ridiculous. TUC General Secretary Francis O'Grady said this is a massive win for working people. Here we get, right at the end of the thing, we get the counter-argument. Too many low-paid workers couldn't afford to uphold their rights at work, even when they faced harassment or have been sacked unfairly. Tribunal fees have been a bonanza for bad bosses, giving them free rein to mistreat staff. Any fees paid so far should be refunded as soon as possible. Let's go to the comment on page 16, shall we, in the Daily Mail.
I think I know what it's going to say.
Charlie Mullins and his posh motor. This is terrible. Daily Mail comment, the Tribunal gravy train is back on track. 4 years ago, ministers introduced for the first time a fee for bringing a case before an employment tribunal. It was a sensible reform, at a time of austerity, to help cover the burgeoning cost of the courts. No. Justice should be accessible to everybody, whether they can afford to pay it or not. But bring back legal aid, for goodness sakes. By introducing costs that can be as much as 1,200 quid, you're excluding huge swathes of the population from justice. That's not fair. That's not fair. The fees were also a deterrent against an out-of-control compensation culture fueled by money-grubbing lawyers, zealous unions and vexatious claimants after a quick buck. When the grievance proved genuine, the fee, which ranged from £390 to £1,200, was almost always reimbursed. Listen to this sentence again. When the grievance proved genuine... No, when the person won their case, it doesn't necessarily mean it wasn't a genuine grievance. The fee, which ranged from £390 to £1,200, was almost always reimbursed. Right. So
these are people who are unemployed all of a sudden.
Yeah. So that means for some people, it wasn't reimbursed. And that means that some people who were probably not earning that much anyway have got to stump up 1,200 quid on a punt. On a punt. Now, they might know that they have been wronged, but it could be me again. You know, if I got the boot from Barclays, say, I'm just picking that name out of there, because they have got endless resources. Pimlico Plumbers, I'm sure they've never fired anybody, unnecessarily or in a bad way, but endless resources. These big companies, British Gas, got endless resources to fund illegal things. And some poor sod that's got just enough to put food on the table has got to find 1,200 quid, but it's almost always reimbursed. The following year, the number of cases, which had hit 190,000, fell by 70%, providing some much-needed relief to firms struggling with legal costs.
Poor firms.
And leaving loads of people who had been unfairly dismissed, sat at home, probably suicidal, because they couldn't raise the 400 quid to take their bastard bosses to court. But yesterday, in a case brought by Unison, the Supreme Court overruled the lower courts, deciding that the policy was unlawful and discriminated against women. The immediate cost to the taxpayer is £32 million. Good, I'm happy to pay that. More than happy to pay that.
Can I just say, discriminated against women, another way of saying discriminated against 50% of the population.
But much more damaging are the consequences for businesses. Oh, God, these poor businesses. Don't fire people unfairly.
Make sure you've got it all.
I don't know. Just don't fire people unfairly. It's a simple thing. Which is braced for a tidal wave of litigation. The rush of claims will be fuelled by a distinctly un-Tory measure of forcing firms to publish their gender pay gap from next year. Inevitably, the hardest hit will be small firms who cannot afford the crippling costs of litigation and are cowed into settling. Did such issues even cross the minds of, here we go, here's that word, our unelected Supreme Court judges? Jesus, Paul Dacre.
I thought we were taking back control.
Paul Dacre's
I thought we wanted to be ruled from within.
The Mail doubts it, after all. What experience have they, from their ivory towers, of the pressures of running a small business. Paul Dacre, I ask you, sir, what experience have you from your ivory tower have you got of trying to scrape around to find enough money to not to buy food for the table so that all the family can eat, let alone... Listen, man, you go to court all the time. You go to court... I think Madonna got a payout. It's the Mail Online, so it's a slightly different thing, but it's all part under the same umbrella. Madonna just got a huge payout from the Mail Online for invasions of privacy about 2 little kiddies that she adopted. So you guys go to court all the time, but you got the best lawyers on speed dial, all right? Some people can't afford that, man. The independence of the judiciary is sacrosanct, but the Mail can't help wondering whether our top judges have meddled in matters which should be the preserve of elected ministers.
Sorry, is it sacrosanct? Or is it not?
Is it or isn't it? Dacre, you dick. Jeez.
I heard someone say the other day, everything before but is bullshine.
Oh, man alive.
And actually, when you pick apart sentences like that, it's true, isn't it?
Well, it's got me really angry.
I love you, but you're really annoying me.
It's got me really angry, because I heard that on Radio 4 yesterday. I thought, oh, that's brilliant. What, absolutely brilliant. I did a little cheer in my car. Well, Pimlico Plumbers bloke is an idiot, but the Mail is an idiot, and let's have a break.
Unmissable late-night radio with the original king of unconventional conversation.
Make contact with Iain Lee.
Late Night Iain Lee on Talk Radio. We'll get you talking.
Oh, man alive. This is, it's been a good old show tonight. Sorry, don't die on me now, Kath.
You shouldn't have made me run.
If you're going to die in the next 5 minutes, let's get it on air. That's an award winner.
Will I get a Lifetime Achievement Award?
No, but what will happen is... I would then do an audio diary of my grieving for the next few months.
Months? Really?
Oh, God,
not just minutes.
Oh, God, I'd milk... I mean, I'd probably record it in one go and just cut it up.
Yeah.
And I'd win an award. Someone dies on air, that is totally an award. I mean, there'd be a picture of you in a heart on the screen, and I'd get an award.
Oh.
Good evening, Gerry.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey.
Let's say the judiciary are not independent. They're selected by the Lord Chancellor. The judges are selected by the Lord Chancellor. He's a political appointee.
But who elects the Lord Chancellor?
He down the House of Lords. He cronyism. Cronies.
Oh.
Cronies it's all farce. Do you know magistrates?
Yeah.
Magistrates, they're Lord. Magistrates called Baker Power as a clerk in front of them.
No, magistrates are just people that, like, local businessmen and women, people in the community. I've considered becoming a magistrate.
I think when I retire, I'll do something like that.
Yeah, I've considered it. And my dealings with magistrates, I've had a couple. I've always found them very fair. Even when I lost a case, I found them very fair.
I'm going to be like Judge Judy.
Have you one there and that's a stipend? He's the qualified. He's a lawyer. Stipend, but to lay magistrates,
yeah.
I think it's just bluffing the bond. When you need to keep on the good side as a clerk.
The clerk, exactly, because they kind of make their decisions. Then they go to the clerk who explains the law to them and says exactly what they can do and stuff. But I want to be a magistrate.
Start scooping. Yes, no, go to this part. If yes, go to this.
Yes.
And choose a sentence.
Yeah.
It's pantomime.
You seem to know a lot about it, Gerry. What have you done wrong?
I got a lot of grief with the CPS.
Oh.
CPS, not long. I did about 6 weeks with them. Tried to work. So I'm shaking in my chair.
I'm gonna become a magistrate, and I'm gonna make sure I end up in a court in Crewe, and I'm gonna send Gerry down for 6 years.
For having a squeaky chair.
Yeah.
Squeaky chair. I'm going to down there now.
Jerry, please tell me you're not masturbating, because that's what it sounds like. If I'm honest.
I'm stuck here. I've got to give up my bungalow.
Okay.
I'll give my bungalow. Hold on.
I was about to make a really... I'm going to say it. If you ever need someone to come and stroke one out, Gerry...
Oh, stop it!
No, listen, I understand. He's a gentleman who is stuck in a situation. Then...
Yeah, but he's not that hard up. We don't want you doing it.
We don't know how hard up he is.
No.
I would do it, Gerry, and I'd wear a glove.
Thank you.
Absolute pleasure, mate. Ta-ta, take care. Let's go to Sally. Good evening, Sally. I thought that was a very generous offer.
Flipping it.
What? I'd wear a glove. It'd be a posh one. Yes, yes, Sally.
Hello, Ian, you right?
I'm all right. Catherine,
I'm not.
Catherine seems upset that I've just offered to masturbate a severely disabled man who probably can't do it for himself.
Well, could you not get someone nice to do it, not you?
I'd do it.
Great big hairy
I
bloke.
could be very romantic.
Don't you think you should ask Gerry first?
No, it's got nothing to do with Gerry. If I want to do it, I'll do it.
Well, I don't think you'll be a magistrate after that, then.
No, I don't think you will.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Should be on a list.
Going to put my 2-bit into this tribunal thing.
Yes.
Well, my other half worked for the tribunal service.
Oh, yeah.
And when this thing came in, there was a really dramatic drop in the amount of cases that came.
Yeah.
And with that came thousands of redundancies.
Uh-oh.
So with all the money that they made or saved or whatever, they had to pay out in dole money.
But Charlie Mullins is okay, because he's got a nice big car.
Well, that's the main thing, isn't it?
That is the main thing.
I'll sleep well tonight knowing that. Yeah.
He's a strange.
Anyway. Leaving things on cars.
Yes. Oh, yes, that was the phone in for tonight.
Yeah.
Yes. What have you left on a car?
Well, we had, we lost a wallet, and it had £800 in it.
Wowzers.
And we never knew what never knew what happened to it. And about 2 years later, we got the remains of the wallet through the post.
Oh.
And that's how we found out we'd left it on top of the car.
Hang on, did they leave a note?
They sent a letter and everything. Oh, we found this. It was a ID. And they tracked us down through work, a work ID, and sent us the ID back. It was all cracked and horrible.
Yeah, cracked.
And it'd been left on the A3.
They said.
And that's how we,
They said. Was the £800 still in it?
Of course not.
Well, I like to think better of people than that.
What, in the middle of the A3? You think someone...
Well, hang on, who's going to pick up a wallet?
Who's going to nick it in the middle of the A3?
No one picks up a wallet from the A3. No.
Yeah, that's where they found it.
Someone might have pinched it and lobbed it out of a window on the A3.
Girls, I'd love to carry on talking about this, but it's the end of the show.
Girls?
Yep.
Oh, thanks.
Well, no, what do you mean, oh, thanks? I can't do the show any longer.
Bad planning.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Sally took that as a snub, as though I was cutting her off because she was like Paul in Stoke Poges, a boring idiot. But the show is coming to an end. I can't do any more. This is how George Galloway ends, isn't it? The show is coming to an end. But I will be back.
Join me then and bring a friend.
On the mother of all talk shows. And I have one word to say to Mr. Charlie Mullins.
George, you're a fanny.
Good night.